and welcome. You're watching the Newstrack. I'm Rahul Kanwal. A woman hopelessly in love or a sinister Pakistani spy? Who is the real Seema Haider? A mysterious story that has India in its grip. And it's my top focus on the Newstrack.
An India-Pakistan love story. Now under investigation. Did she cross over only for love? Or is Seema Haider a Pakistani spy? Unconventional love story or a spy saga? Big focus on Newstrack.
No one knows for sure, but everyone has an opinion and they all think they know for sure. But that's not the case at all. We'll get into the layers of this gripping story, get you the investigation from Sharjah, from Pakistan, from Pokhara in Nepal, and all through India. We'll trace the developments and bring you the latest updates. Here are the headlines today. Cracks appear in the united opposition. Left accuses the TMC of dictatorship in Bengal. Nitish Kumar denies reports of any rift. High drama in Karnataka. 10 BJP MLAs suspended and marshalled out of the assembly for protesting against the Congress deploying IAS officers at the opposition meeting in Bengaluru. Former CM Bommai is detained. Bengaluru terror module busted. 5 suspected terrorists arrested for plotting blasts across the city. Bomb-making material, weapons are recovered. At least 16 killed and several injured after a transformer explodes at the Namami Gange project site in Uttarakhand's Chamoli. SDRF joins rescue operations. Fresh dangal over Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia getting an exemption from Asian Games trials. Wrestler Antim Pangal moves the court, calls the direct qualification unfair to the other wrestlers. A PUBG love story, a cross-border relationship. The Seema Haider Sachin Meena saga seems to have captured India's imagination. Did Seema Haider really travel across 4 nations for the sake of love? Or is she a sinister Pakistani spy here as part of an ISI plot? On the Newstrack tonight, we will try and decipher the mystery called Seema Haider.
From the virtual battlefields of PUBG, from Karachi in Pakistan to Rabupura in Greater Noida, via Kathmandu in Nepal. 27-year-old Seema Ghulam Haider's daring trek to marry her lover, 5 years younger, with her 4 children in tow. Now a subject of intense investigation.
2 राष्ट्रों के बीच जुड़ा हुआ है. इसमें जब तक पर्याप्त साक्ष्य नहीं मिल जाते, कुछ भी कहना उचित नहीं. अगर हमारा बॉर्डर पोरस है और उसके लिए कोई पासपोर्ट की आवश्यकता नहीं है, तो इसलिए इस तरह की चीजें. लेकिन एक पाकिस्तानी नागरिक नहीं, ये तो किसी के चेहरे पे तो कुछ लिखा नहीं.
Uttar Pradesh's Anti-Terrorism Squad questioned the Pakistani woman sneaking into India via Nepal for 9 hours on Tuesday. Multiple agencies involved in cross-examining her claims. The Karachi-based Haider allegedly met Sachin Meena of Greater Noida a couple of years ago. Already married in 2014, her husband working in Saudi Arabia, she first met Meena in Nepal in March. Stayed with him in this hotel for a couple of days. Travelled to Nepal again in May. This time with her 4 children. She took a bus and crossed into India to reunite with her lover. Haider allegedly sold a property back in Karachi to fund her trip. But the investigating agencies aren't taking this story on its face value. Intriguing revelations tumble out of the ongoing probe. The Pakistani national holds not one but two passports. Number HZ0004421 and HZ0004422. Discrepancies found in her age and birth date. Pakistani authorities seem to have issued Seema Haider her national identity card in September 2022. These documents in general made available months after the birth. In her case, she got her Pakistani national identity less than a year ago. Two passports in Pakistan. A bus from Pokhara to Uttar Pradesh to reach Greater Noida. Evading the keen eye of the Sashastra Seema Bal along the India-Nepal border. She carried all travel documents, but left one of the phones and a laptop she used in Pakistan behind. And when India Today spoke to her estranged husband, a laborer in Saudi Arabia, Ghulam Haider claimed Seema Haider's brother is a Pakistani border guard.
ये जो सीमा हैदर इसके भाई का नाम आसिफ है ना?
जी जी।
तो आसिफ कहाँ है अभी, किसमें है, कहाँ काम करते हैं?
इधर यूपीएस का कोई रेंजर्स में है, इधर कराची में।
क्या पाकिस्तान रेंजर्स में है, फौजी हैं?
जी जी।
और इनके जो चाचा है सीमा के?
वो गुलाम अकबर, वो भी बड़े उधर में इस्लामाबाद में, पता नहीं लाहौर में।
कहाँ पे है?
इस्लामाबाद।
Seema Haider's speech, her language skills. A Pakistani woman from the Sindh province dressing up like a rural woman from India's Hindi heartland. Investigators are leaving nothing to chance. Agencies suspect that Pakistani handlers might have taken professional help to give Seema Haider a makeover in order for her to slip into India without detection. Seema Haider's purported affidavit from 2014 in India Today's possession. The woman in this document accused her parents of greed. She testified that she left her home to live with Ghulam Haider because her parents wanted to marry her off with someone else against her wishes. And now she has left Ghulam Haider for Sachin Meena in India. Out on bail, but not off the hook. Seema Haider, an unconventional lover, or a Pakistani spy out to set up base in Uttar Pradesh? Over to the investigating agencies to get to the bottom of her saga. With Arvind Ojha, Bureau Report, India Today.
It's one of those sagas where everyone in our newsroom, people in every home, in every office, they all have an opinion. They're all convinced they know. No one knows for sure, but they still think they do. Joining me on this broadcast, I want to welcome some of our reporters and some officials who've been in different agencies. I want to start by welcoming our crime editor, Shams Tahir Khan, joining me on the Newstrack. Gaurav Sawant, our strategic affairs expert, looking at the international dimension of what's at play. Munish Pandey tracks the Ministry of Home Affairs. We've got Arvind Ojha, who's our crime editor, and we've got Samarth Srivastav. He is in Kathmandu, going back to the places that Seema Haider and Sachin went to in Kathmandu and in Pokhara. I want to start by asking Gaurav, who in our newsroom, we are part of a fascinating conversation this afternoon about why, on the basis of what you've picked up so far, you seem to be convinced that Seema Haider is a sinister Pakistani spy.
So there are many aspects that don't add up, Rahul. If this is a love story, it's a very strange love story.
Why?
For example, why would she have two passports? When she came
But
to
we don't
India,
know for sure that she has two passports.
So I'll read out what has come from the Uttar Pradesh police. This is a background note. In all, she's come with 6 passports. 4 children, one is hers, one is an additional passport, and India Today has been able to get the passport numbers. So one, why would she have two passports? And if I could, the number is HZ0004421. Very strange, Rahul. The second passport number is HZ0004422. So 2122, two consequent numbers, and she has two passports in her name. One says Seema Haider, the other just says Seema. One has been used, the other is unused. So why would any individual have two passports? Point one. Point two, in Pakistan there is a rule. The NADRA, which is National Database and Registration Authority, issues a CNIC, which is a computerized national identity card. It's like our Aadhaar. This computerized national identity card in Pakistan is issued to every individual when that individual turns 18. If she's either 21 or she's 27. Again, a discrepancy in her date of birth according to her passport and according to what she says herself. She says I'm 27. If she's 27, why was her NADRA card or her CNIC card not issued 10 years ago when she was 18? Why was it issued just last year? So was everything pieced together? Her passport is last year, her database national identity card is last year. Was an identity created last year for her to come into India, to become friends with this guy and then move into Uttar Pradesh?
Shams, when viewers will listen to Gaurav's response, they'll think, boss, yahan dal mein kuch kala hai. On the back of all that you've studied of this story, all the officials you've spoken to in different agencies, you seem to be convinced that she's just a woman in love and everybody is just playing Seema auntie and being judgmental when they shouldn't.
अभी तक जितनी सारी चीज़ें आई उसको देखते हुए ऐसा लगता है, जैसे राहुल, मैं शुरुआत से अगर बताऊं, सिर्फ 72 आवर्स के अंदर अंदर सीमा को बेल आउट कर दिया जाता है और नोएडा पुलिस उसको अपोज नहीं करती कोर्ट में। नोएडा पुलिस का ये कहना था कि जो हमने इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया उसमें ऐसा कुछ मिला नहीं है, पहली चीज़। दूसरी चीज़ उसमें ये थी कि सीमा अपने बच्चों के साथ बॉर्डर क्रॉस करके आई बिना वीज़ा के, ये उसने एक जुर्म किया है, क्राइम किया है। लेकिन जहाँ तक स्पाई की बात आती है, हम लोगों ने जितनी भी जासूसी फिल्में देखी हों या नॉवेल पढ़े हों या इवन मैंने कई ऐसे जासूसों से बात की, बल्कि इवन आईबी के कुछ लोगों से ही बात की। सबसे ज़रूरी होता है कि अगर आप किसी देश में स्पाई या जासूस के तौर पर जा रहे हैं, आप अपनी आइडेंटिटी कभी डिस्क्लोज़ नहीं करेंगे, आप उसको छुपाएंगे।
दिस इज अ रियल नेम।
मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि डिस्क्लोज़ नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन यहाँ पर और उस आप कंट्री को भी आप छुपाएंगे। सीमा पूरा एक बैग लेकर आती है, ये रहे मेरे पासपोर्ट, ये मेरे बच्चों के पासपोर्ट, ये कर मेरा कराची का पता, ये मेरे हस्बैंड का आई कार्ड, ये मेरे फादर इन,
वो जेन्युइन डिटेल दे रही है।
अगर वो स्पाई है तो पहली चीज़ वो कि वो इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के हमारे जो रिलेशन है हम सब जानते हैं, वो किसी और कंट्री का भी बता सकती है। पाकिस्तानी पासपोर्ट बगैर वीज़ा के और इंडिया आ रही है और उसे पता है पाकिस्तानी पासपोर्ट देखेंगे तो पहला उस पर डाउट जाएगा। तो पाकिस्तानी पासपोर्ट के साथ यहाँ आना, किसी स्पाई इतनी बेवकूफ़ी वाले काम नहीं करते, पहली चीज़। सेकेंड ये है कि जो सीमा का पाकिस्तानी है, क्यों डाउट हो रहा है? एक तो पाकिस्तानी है, ऊपर से पाकिस्तानी लड़की है, ऊपर से दिखने में ठीक ठाक है। जो हाल के वक्त में हमने देखा अभी, जैसे DRDO साइंटिस्ट की जो चार्जशीट दाखिल हुई, सेम यही सारी चीज़ें थी। एक ब्रिटिश लड़की थी जिसने अपने जाल में फंसाया। तो ये सारी चीज़ें डाउट क्रिएट करती है और ये डाउट गलत नहीं है। एक तो पाकिस्तान से आया, उस पर आपको शक करना चाहिए, इन्वेस्टिगेट करना चाहिए। नोएडा पुलिस ने किया फर्स्ट 48 आवर्स के अंदर अंदर। ये नोएडा पुलिस का काम नहीं है, क्योंकि स्पाई एक दूसरे देश से आता है तो फिर इसमें आपको सेंट्रल एजेंसी को इन्वॉल्व करना पड़ता है। होम मिनिस्ट्री, IB, ये सारी इन्वॉल्व हुई। और जो हमारे सोर्सेज उनका कहना है कि 48 आवर्स के इंट्रोगेशन और इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बाद ही सीमा को इतनी जल्दी बेल आउट किया गया, वरना आज अब तक मैंने नहीं देखा है कि किसी को आप स्पाई के डाउट में पकड़ें और फिर आप उसको फौरन बेल आउट कर दें। तो ऐसा इस केस में नहीं हुआ।
She wouldn't have got bail if serious investigative agencies like the Intelligence Bureau thought that she was a spy. She would have been locked up for a long time. And secondly, which spy comes with her own children? She doesn't need to come and tell us that she's Pakistani and bring her own children to India. She would have come like a Matahari all by herself.
So, we're still waiting to see if a DNA test is carried out and whether these are her children. That's point one. I'm not saying she's a spy. I'm just saying there are many aspects to the story that just don't add up. She didn't come to India showing her Pakistani passport at the border crossing point when she crossed over to Siddharthnagar from Nepal. In fact, that's the biggest question that an enemy country...
we have an open border with
Yes,
Nepal.
but then your documents are checked. Only Indians can come without documentation.
The whole border is porous. You can can walk in from anywhere.
Correct, but in this case, you know, you're supposed to show your Aadhaar card, or you're supposed to show your passport, or you're supposed to show your PAN card, or your driving license. That is how you cross over from Nepal into India. She apparently came in a bus. She did not show her Pakistani passport there. Had she shown her Pakistani passport, she would have been held immediately. But then somehow, who
No,
helped
but
her
Sham's
cross over?
point that if she's actually Pakistani, she won't come with a Pakistani passport. When terrorists come, they don't bring their Pak credentials with them. That's like the surest way of getting busted.
But how did she get busted? She didn't come saying, I am Pakistani, hi, I'm giving a television interview. She quietly came for 15 days, quietly lived in Greater Noida, and that's a very sensitive area. You have your Hindon Air Base, you have a Jewar International Airport that's coming up. She wanted to just settle in. It's only when the boy's family insisted you get married, they approached a lawyer, went to Bulandshahr. It's the lawyer who later alerted the police. So this raises very serious questions about the credibility of the Uttar Pradesh police and our intelligence agencies, that a Pakistani woman was living in our country for 15 days. They hadn't the foggiest idea this was happening. So this, and that is why now there's an ATS investigation, an anti-terror squad investigation, and you know, for the police to say कि किसी के चेहरे पर नहीं लिखा वो जासूस है, you know, that's exactly why you have intelligence agencies. That is exactly why you have counter-terror forces. And we've been misled. A David Coleman Headley came into our country carrying an American passport and went around, you know, looking at every VA, VP, vital asset and vital point in Delhi and Mumbai. So we've been bitten once. We haven't woken
Okay,
up.
अरविंद ओझा, आपकी बात हुई सीमा के पास्ट हस्बैंड से, क्या निकल के आया? क्या ये बात सही है कि वाकई में उसके ब्रदर्स आर्मी के अंदर हैं? पाकिस्तान कनेक्शन के बारे में सीमा का, क्या इसने ये घर बेचा, वाकई में 12 लाख का घर बेचा, या किसी एजेंसी ने इसको 12 लाख रुपए दिए?
नहीं राहुल, देखिए अभी तक जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुई है और अब से कुछ देर बाद बाकायदा कुछ देर पहले जो उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस है उसने एक अब तक की जो जांच हुई उसको लेकर एक प्रेस रिलीज जारी की है। और उसके अलावा जो उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस के जो टॉप ऑफिशियल हैं उनसे हमारी बात हुई है। उनका कहना है कि अभी तक सीमा ने जो कुछ भी बयान दिया है वो काफी हद तक सही सामने आया है। जो उसने बात कही थी कि उसने अपनी प्रॉपर्टी बेची है, वो भी बात काफी हद तक सही है। अभी तक की जो एटीएस की इन्वेस्टिगेशन है और जो नोएडा पुलिस की इन्वेस्टिगेशन है उसमें ये क्लियर नहीं हो पाया है कि सीमा वाकई कोई जासूस है, कोई स्पाई है। अभी तक यही माना जा रहा है कि वो प्रेम प्रसंग के चक्कर में सचिन से मिलने के लिए आई थी। वहीं अगर इंडिया टुडे ने जो बात की है, जो सीमा का फर्स्ट हस्बैंड है गुलाम हैदर, जो फिलहाल सऊदी अरब में, उसने ये कहा कि सीमा ने बताया था कि उसका जो भाई है आसिफ वो कराची में है, पाकिस्तानी रेंजर्स है, वहीं उसके जो अंकल है वो इस्लामाबाद में है। और कहीं ना कहीं एजेंसीज ने इस बात की पुष्टि भी की है। लेकिन ये काफी अनयूजुअल चीजें हैं, जिस तरह से सीमा यहां पर आती है, जिस तरह से पासपोर्ट पे, शायद यही वजह है कि एजेंसीज लगातार सीमा को इंटरोगेट कर रही है। हालांकि अभी तक कोई स्पाई का एविडेंस नहीं मिला है। वही गौरव की बात को रिफर करूंगा, अगर कोई एजेंसीज ये कहती है लैब्स पर कि किसी के चेहरे पर पाकिस्तानी नहीं लिखा है, तो ये बहुत अजीब सा बयान है, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं ये इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर तो है ही है। क्योंकि लोकल नेपाल से लेकर अगर सीमा ग्रेटर नोएडा तक आ जाती है और किसी एजेंसीज को जानकारी नहीं मिलती है तो यह बड़ा फेलियर। लेकिन जो एजेंसीज का इन्वेस्टिगेशन है, साथ ही साथ इंडिया टुडे की टीम ने काठमांडू, नोएडा से लेकर उसके हस्बैंड तक से बात की है, जिसमें कई ऐसी चीजें हैं जो सीमा पर शक भी पैदा करती है। वही इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसीज को का दावा है कि अभी तक स्पाई है सीमा, इसको लेकर कोई एविडेंस नहीं मिला है। राहुल।
Munish Pandey, you've been speaking to the Ministry of Home Affairs. What are your sources telling you? I'm seeing this press note that Arvind was referring to put out. It's very rarely that any police force gives such detailed ball-by-ball commentary. This is not a chart sheet that they've put out. This is not a court document. They've given a day-by-day, ball-by-ball commentary of what Seema has done. It just also shows the level of interest in the story, which is why the police is doing something of this nature. But Arvind is absolutely right that they haven't found evidence yet to declare her a spy. But there are things which don't add up. The point that Gaurav was making, that she has 4 mobile phones, 5 Pakistani official passports, 1 adhura, naam pate ke bagair without use passport, which essentially means there's one passport which is like a half-baked kind of passport. So why would she have this, Munish? Is it adding up for you?
Well, Rahul, as far as the agencies and the officials of Ministry of Home Affairs are concerned, they are keeping a close eye on the investigation. But now this is a very curious case, and it is very unusual for any ATS agency or for the UP ATS to come out with an official press release in which what they have mentioned so far is that overall the suspicion on Seema Haider is because of the 6 passports, 4 mobile phones, but also they have mentioned the entire detail. 2019, her husband went to Saudi. 2020, they started playing PUBG. And in 2023, March, they first time met in Nepal. In May, 10th of May, she left Pakistan, went to Dubai, and then, on 11th, she arrived in Nepal, and then on 12th, she left for India and reached Noida on 13th. They have given a very detailed description of the overall journey of Seema Haider. Also, they have mentioned that it looks like that as of now, this looks like a case of love affair between Seema and Sachin. But at the very same time, they have also mentioned that they are continuing the investigation because what Gaurav said, these are very valid points. She has 6 passports. No common person will have 6 passports. Why was she?
No, but those aren't her passports. No, 1 second. Those aren't 6 of her passports. There's 1 official passport of hers. There are 4 passports of her children, and since everyone here is playing Sherlock Holmes, Gaurav, I have a question for you. You're saying there's a 2nd passport. Now imagine if the ISI was actually involved. Surely they would have got a proper passport for her. This press release says, एक अधूरे नाम पते के बगैर प्रयोग किया हुआ passport. If this is an official agency that's helping her, they can get her a proper passports, है ना शम्स भाई? Proper passport तो मिल ही सकता है, आधा अधूरा कच्चा passport क्यों मिलेगा?
आधा अधूरा is the name. One passport
no, but it's not being used.
Yeah, it's unused. So she has an unused passport with only Seema. One says Seema Haider Zedi, the other says only Seema. So that's the आधा अधूरा नाम. That's the unused passport.
Shams, how difficult is it? Like in India, it's quite difficult to get another passport. In Pakistan, is it easy? Is it tough? नकली पासपोर्ट मिलता है कि नहीं पाकिस्तान में?
हर जगह मिलता है क्योंकि हम सब कभी एक ही हुआ करते थे तो और अंग्रेजों के दिए गए आईपीसी और सारी चीजें अब चूंकि ऑनलाइन हो चुका है। लेकिन यहाँ पे फिर मैं वहीं राहुल बात आऊँगा कि 5 और 6 और 7 पासपोर्ट की गिनती पे मैं नहीं जा रहा हूँ। सिंपल सी एक चीज़ है, अगर स्पाई वाला पूरा थ्योरी अगर करें तो इतनी बेसिक सी चीज़ है कि वो अगर अपनी ओरिजिनल पासपोर्ट लेकर आ रही है तो फिर एक डुप्लीकेट पासपोर्ट का मतलब नहीं है।
सेम
आइडेंटिटी और सेम नाम का तो उसको भी लाने का जरूरत नहीं है। उसको ये सारे एविडेंस को काठमांडू में ही छोड़ देना चाहिए था, उसके बाद आना चाहिए था। अगर स्पाई की सोच के साथ आ रही है, अगर वो सारे एविडेंस आ रही है तो जो अभी तक आधे अधूरे पासपोर्ट की भी बात है, शायद उसे लगा कि इससे कोई मतलब ही नहीं है।
No, but that's a very good point Shams make. If she's a spy and she's sent by an agency and she's trained, the theories I'm hearing is that she dances so well because she's been trained, that's how she knows how to wear a sari in the Indian way. If she's such a genius and such a devious spy, why would she carry a Pak passport to India?
She also is supposed to have left behind certain documents which were carried from Pakistan, not carried beyond Kathmandu. She's alleged to have, again this is source based information, she's alleged to have sent friend requests to army jawans and to others living in Delhi and NCR region. If she is so much in love with Sachin, why is she sending friend requests to others?
No, but there again, there is no official confirmation yet about this theory.
Just going back,
this could be langar gossip.
So, fair enough, it's all a matter of investigation. Then her mobile phone has been scrubbed clean. So she's carrying 4 mobile phones.
Yes, sahi hai ki phone clean
those mobile phones do not have data. Those mobile phones do not have data.
No, but this is very suspicious. So Arvind Oja, has her phone been scrubbed clean? Because if you're just a normal person, it's not that easy to scrub your phone in a way that the agencies can't find out.
They've sent it for forensic examination is what I've been told. But Arvind can tell us better.
बिल्कुल ये सही है।
क्या उसने फोन क्लीन कर दिया था अरविंद?
देखिए मैं सबसे पहले बताऊं कि जो आधे अधूरे पासपोर्ट की बात हो रही है वो इसमें यह है कि एक पासपोर्ट जिसमें सीमा नाम लिखा हुआ था और दूसरा पासपोर्ट जिसमें सीमा हैदर लिखा हुआ था। तो बहुत मुमकिन है और इस तरह से कई बार होता है कि कोई पासपोर्ट पे अपना नाम पूरा नहीं लिख पाता है तो वो दूसरा पासपोर्ट बनवाता है जिसमें पूरा नाम लिखता है। तो सीमा बहुत मुमकिन है कि पहले का उसका जो पासपोर्ट हो वो शादी के पहले का हो, उसके बाद शादी के बाद उसने सीमा हैदर लिख लिया हो। ये भी एक इन्वेस्टिगेशन का सब्जेक्ट है जिस पर एजेंसीज जांच कर रही है। रही बात दूसरी, कई डेटा डिलीट हुए हैं। अमूमन हम में आप में से कई ऐसे लोग हैं जब कोई चैट्स करते हैं तो वो डेटा डिलीट करते हैं, लेकिन चूंकि ये मामला एक पाकिस्तानी महिला की घुसपैठ का है इसलिए एजेंसीज ने इस डेटा डिलीट को भी बहुत सीरियसली लिया है। लेकिन जैसा मैंने पहले बताया कि पहले नोएडा पुलिस ने और शम्स ने भी इस बात का जिक्र किया है कि नोएडा पुलिस से पहले जब भी कोई फॉरेनर से रिलेटेड मामला होता है तो उसके पहले सेंट्रल एजेंसीज वो आती हैं, चाहे इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो, नोएडा में मिलिट्री इंटेलिजेंस की यूनिट है, मिलिट्री इंटेलिजेंस रॉ के ऑफिसर, उन सभी ने सीमा से इंटरोगेट किया सीमा को। उसके बाद लोकल पुलिस को दिया गया, लोकल पुलिस ने फॉरेनर एक्ट में उसे अरेस्ट किया, उसके बाद वो जेल गई, उसके बाद बेल मिला और बेल भी नोएडा पुलिस ने उसको अपोज नहीं किया। उसके बाद एटीएस को इन्वेस्टिगेशन दी गई। 2 दिन एटीएस के जो एसएसपी हैं वो लखनऊ से यहाँ पर आते हैं, 2 दिन उसको इंटरोगेट करते हैं। उसके बाद अभी जो प्रेस रिलीज आई है कम से कम उसमें यही दावा किया जा रहा है कि जो कुछ भी सीमा ने कहा, जैसे गुलाम हैदर यूएई में जो उसका हस्बैंड है 70 से 80 हजार रुपए उसको पर मंथ भेजता था, उसने पैसा जमा किया, प्रॉपर्टी ली, फिर उसके बाद सचिन से मिलने के लिए वो प्रॉपर्टी बेच दी, उसके बाद किस तरीके से वो इंडिया आई, वो यहाँ पर मिली, उसके बाद वो बुलंदशहर जाती है, अपना पाकिस्तानी पासपोर्ट वो एक लॉयर को देती है और वो लॉयर तब जाकर पुलिस को कांटेक्ट करता है, तब इस पूरे मामले का खुलासा होता है। तो कई ऐसी चीजें हैं जो अनयूजुअल है जिसको लेकर ही इंटरोगेशन।
यहाँ पे मैं एक चीज बताना चाहूंगा, जो वो ये है कि एक कंफ्यूजन ये क्रिएट हो गया था कि एटीएस को जांच सौंपी गई है नोएडा पुलिस के बाद, इसलिए मामला कुछ सीरियस है, स्पाई है। नोएडा पुलिस ने खुद लखनऊ हेडक्वार्टर को एक एप्लीकेशन लिखा और ये कहा कि चूंकि इसमें कई कंट्री इन्वॉल्व है, नोएडा की हमारी एक सीमा है, हम काठमांडू में इन्वेस्टिगेट नहीं कर सकते, हम शारजा से अगर वो आई वो इन्वेस्टिगेट नहीं कर सकते, तो बेटर हो कि ऐसी एजेंसी जो बाकी फ़ोन के डिटेल्स और ये सारी चीज़ें इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एविडेंस कलेक्ट कर सके, दूसरे देश में अपनी इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर सके, तो उसको ही जांच देनी चाहिए। तो नोएडा पुलिस के कहने पर ही इस मामले की जांच एटीएस को सौंपी गई थी और कोई दूसरा रीजन
नहीं। Seema Haider is under investigation. The Uttar Pradesh Anti-Terrorism Squad trying to find out about her Pakistani links. It's being suggested that her brother and uncle are with the Pakistani army. Sources say Seema seems to have sent friend requests to officials in the Indian security forces. Now, why would she try and do that is one of the questions that investigators are trying to ask.
Love crossing the barriers of nationality. A story of cross-border romance set in the reels of cinema.
मेरा नाम सीमा सचिन है, सीमा ठाकुर भी कह सकते हो और ठकरायन भी कह सकते हो।
But Seema Haider's real-life tale blurs the lines between love and suspicion. The Pakistani citizen's illicit crossing of borders has triggered a full-scale investigation by Indian authorities. Agencies suspect that there may be more to her story than meets the eye. A deeper inspection of her activities, both offline and online, underway. Official sources tell India Today that UP's Anti-Terror Squad has closely investigated Seema Haider's social media accounts. Turns out most of the people associated with them live in the national capital region. According to their sources, Seema Haider also sent friend requests to some soldiers of the Indian Army. Police now are looking for the motive. On her part, Haider claimed someone may have created a fake profile in her name.
नहीं सर, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। जब सच्चाई सामने आएगी तो फिर ही आप बात करेंगे। ऐसा कुछ है नहीं, क्योंकि अपनी बेटियों के साथ हूँ, मेरी मासूम बेटियां हैं, मेरा बेटा है। ऐसा होता तो मैं अकेली ही आती, शायद पहली बार में जब आई तभी आती। अगर यहाँ ऐसा होता तो मैं खुद चल के वकील के पास नहीं जाती।
Central agencies suspect Seema Haider's infiltration into India could have been facilitated by a third party. A Pakistani Muslim, she could have been trained in Hindu customs, attire, and the Hindi language as spoken in the hinterlands of Uttar Pradesh.
जैसे यहाँ औरतें पति के लिए अपनी मांग भरे रखती हैं, तो I love that. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता था ये सब.
A trademark practice adopted by Pakistan's rogue spy agencies to send its female operatives into India via Nepal. Central agencies haven't yet been able to confirm Seema Haider's claims that she entered India on May 13th. No evidence yet found about the presence of a third country citizen that day along the key border points between India and Nepal. Her brother Asif being a Pakistani ranger, and uncle serving in the Pakistani army have also raised eyebrows. No evidence yet of her claims either that she sold a house to fund her India trip.
अभी भी ऐसा ही बोला, भाई हम जा रहे हैं गांव, 3-4 दिन हमारे सामान का ख्याल रखो, फिर हम वापस आ जाएंगे. गई तो फिर वापस नहीं आई. जीपीएस का कोई राब्ता हो गया, फिर ऐसे इधर चली गई तो हमने नेट से सुना तो इंडिया पहुंच गई है.
Love and suspicion intertwined. A case still shrouded in mystery. With Jitendra Bahadur Singh and Arvind Ojha, Bureau Report, India Today.
I want to go across now to Samar Srivastav. He is in Kathmandu. He's tracking whether the information given by Seema and Sachin adds up in Nepal. What have you found out in your preliminary investigation so far, Samar?
Well, Rahul, it is very clear that there is something wrong when it comes to the hotel booking or visiting the temple Pashupati that is in Kathmandu, because when India TV reached the hotel and checked the entry in that particular register, there was no mention of either Sachin or Seema Haider. The receptionist told India TV that yes, both the duo came and stayed for around 7 days, but they were too normal. Most of the time they remained inside the room. Hardly they came out to visit temples like Pashupatinath and various others, but most of the time they were inside. But it is also worth mentioning here that they tried to hide their identity. They did not tell the receptionist that one particular person is Sachin, while the other one is Haider. While when India TV moved to the Pashupati temple, there is one area where there's the wedding happens at that particular area. And when we spoke to the pundits out there and also the others out there about that register where the entry takes place for the marriage, there was no entry of Seema or Sachin. That is a bigger question, like when did they enter wedlock, while the receptionist claimed that it could be said in the real video that Sachin is applying sindoor at the forehead of Seema, and he claimed that they entered wedlock in the particular room. So these were some questions coming in why they had to try to hide their identity. And the biggest question is how they crossed the Nepal border, what SSB forces were doing in Gorakhpur, Siddharthnagar or various districts which are in a way adjoining districts around Indo-Nepal border. So this is a bigger question, and that's why UP police has sought report from SSB as well to give information how Seema and Sachin, because for the first time in March, Sachin crossed the border from Gorakhpur. Number 2, in May, Seema Haider via bus from Pokhara entered the border via Siddharthnagar area. That is also the border of Indo-Nepal, and that is a bigger question, and that's why India TV is tracking each and every detail from where Seema Haider went to. Even currently I'm also traveling towards Pokhara, and that's the route where Seema Haider went through a cab and later took a bus.
Okay, I'll come back to you and we'll follow your reportage over the next 48 hours on India Today. Samar Srivastav, thank you for that update. I'm joined on this broadcast now by former Research and Analysis Wing Officer NK Sood. We have Arvind Kumar Jain. He's been Director General of Police in Uttar Pradesh. Meghna Pant is a well-known screenwriter, author. I want to go across to NK Sood first. You've tracked spies, you understand a couple of things about spycraft. On the basis of everything that is in the public domain so far, Mr. Sood, does Seema's saga seem particularly odd? Does she seem to you to be a woman hopelessly in love? Or do you think daal mein kuch kala hai?
Rahul, actually, I am not able to get it very clearly, but I can understand what the basic question is. Firstly, people are saying it's an intelligence failure. It is not an intelligence failure. Secondly, Seema Haider in no way is an ISI agent. If she was an ISI agent, and secondly, the people are talking that how she entered, it is not difficult for anybody to enter India from Nepal. And secondly, when she came from Pakistan, there is that direct flight to Kathmandu. And if she was an ISI agent, there is a big unit of ISI in Pakistan embassy, in Pakistani embassy that is based in Kathmandu. They could have given her all the assistance. And one more thing, if she is crossing into India and she was an ISI agent, ISI would have taken proper care and would have briefed her that not to bring her passports to India. She could have destroyed the passport over there. People are talking about her changing SIMs, etc. She was afraid of not India or RAW or IB. She was afraid of ISI. That's why she destroyed some of her things. And one more thing, if Seema Haider was an ISI agent, she would have destroyed her passport, come to India, and after meeting Sachin, she would have said that I have come from illegal or anything, and she would have got prepared any kind of documents in India. It's not a difficult job. And if she was an ISI agent, ISI would have taken proper care of Seema. And Seema, if she was an ISI agent, there was no need for Seema to convert to Hinduism. The main problem for Seema is that she converted to Hinduism, and she was expecting that if she would convert to Hinduism, she would get a good reception in India. I think this is where her calculation went wrong. And the way she is being investigated into, she is being repeatedly questioned by various agencies. And I think who can face that kind of disordered investigation? Different agencies are questioning her, different media are questioning her, and everybody would make mistakes. Making mistakes is not a problem. She has committed certain mistakes, but to target her as an ISI agent, I think it is just a big mistake. And one more thing, if ISI or RAW or any other agencies, they conduct any kind of operation, they are foolproof. They are not made in a haphazard manner that this operation is there, or whatever people are calling that is an ISI operation. And the news that her brother was in army or anything, this all fake news is being spread by the ISI to defame her. If Seema Haider had not converted to Hinduism, nobody in Pakistan would have bothered, nobody in India would have bothered.
Okay.
Especially,
you made some very important points there. I want to go across to Arvind Kumar Jain, former Director General of the Uttar Pradesh Police. Mr. Jain, from your policing perspective, are things adding up, or are you seeing various key holes in Seema's story?
I have studied this matter. It's a sensitive issue, but in my opinion, I have said it on so many channels, in my view, she is not a spy.
Why not?
Papers would have been absolutely perfect had she been a spy. She would not have come with 4 children. And now she is known to, she has gained entry into every household of India. She is known all over the country. And if you are a spy, you require anonymity, and only then you can operate. Sachin Meena is not a person who can divulge any secrets, so it's not a case of honey trap. I think, although the time will tell, if something comes up, naturally she should be deported at once if it is proved that she is a spy. But she is a household name, her face is known to everybody. How can she operate from Greater Noida area, and what can she do? Her phones will always be on surveillance. There are so many people keeping watch on her in Raghupura area in Greater Noida. So I don't think she can act as a spy. I agree with Mr. Sood because she has converted to Hinduism, and she is performing puja. She is offering water to Tulsi. So all this is has annoyed some powerful lobbies in Pakistan and India also. So that's why I think this campaign is going on. I don't think so many Bangladeshi women, Rohingya women have married in India. We are not even aware of it. And they have children also out of the wedlock. So what can she do, this lady alone, who is in public glare, who is known to everybody? Where will she go? How will she get hold of secrets? And what will she do with those secrets? So I don't believe this. I don't believe this. And had she been a spy, all the papers would have been absolutely in order.
Now, both of you make very important points, and most certainly there is no honey trap here, Meghna, because Sachin works at a Kirana store, so he's not working in DRDO or some sensitive installation. He's just a regular guy at a Kirana store. This story is bringing out the Sherlock Holmes in everyone, everyone trying to play Jagga Jasoos and, you know, coming up with their theories, and it's got people gripped. It's almost become a soap opera that's playing itself out in full public glare.
Yeah, I'm actually titling it Haider Ek Prem Katha because it's so cinematic almost. But, you know, Rahul, honestly, like my biggest fear is that, you know, this shouldn't turn into an orchestrated sort of propaganda campaign. We shouldn't add communal hues to it. We shouldn't politicize the issue. It's, for me at least, it's not feeling like a case of honey trapping. She's clearly not coming across as a spy. I mean, an illegal immigrant would go into hiding. Here's Seema, you know, in front of the media. She's also brought her children along. Why would she, you know, risk the lives of her children? She would have left them with her ex-husband if she were a spy. So this, you know, I think we also need to allow ourselves to be gullible, to allow love to win, you know, to not say ki there are love laws for everything, including reverse love jihad, where, you know, it's dictated upon who you can love, how much you can love, how you can love. So I think we must do away with all of that. And I think
no, but it's also, issues, you know, it's very awkward. But the fact is, it's bringing out our worst social biases. People look at her and say, oh, she's a good-looking girl. How can she fall in love with Dekhi? Uski shakal dekhi. How can she possibly be in love with her? It's these kind of biases that are letting people sway one way or the other basis what their conditioning and bias is.
But, you know, Rahul, that's the thing. Anytime we see an attractive woman, we immediately launch on a witch hunt against her. We want to tear her down. We want to bring her down. And that's unfortunately, you know, 16,000 years of patriarchy speaking to our subconscious where we can't hold back. And we're not focusing on the larger issue that, you know, how our national security has been threatened, that 5 people from an enemy state just walked into our country. You know, that is something that I think we need to listen to. We need to listen to the law of the land, the ATS and IB, the agencies. They are investigating. They made the arrest. They put her out on bail. So they are doing their job. So before we launch another witch hunt against an attractive woman, let's just take a step back and think of the larger issues at hand. You know, somebody was mentioning that she didn't have ample documents. What we're forgetting, Rahul, and we see this in our daily lives, women have always been marginalized when it comes to documentation. You know, their natal, especially from a certain socioeconomic strata, their natal family will not let go of the documents. They'll be married off in distant villages where there's no access to documents. So therefore, a lot of women are thriving on, say, fake IDs, including fake Aadhaar cards. So you can't put the onus of that on a woman or make it look like it's her fault. It's the fault of our society that, you know, women have been marginalized for so long, and even illegal, unlawful immigrants, the political vilification that takes place, the stigmatization, it's very sort of Kafkaesque almost. So let's not ignore that out of Seema Haider's story. It's not about honey trapping. It's not about reverse love jihad. For me, the important thing is about our borders, why are borders so porous, and also the documentation and legality of women in particular who've been marginalized for so long.
Those are very important points made by N.K. Sood, Arvind Kumar Jain and Meghna Pant. And I want to thank them for joining us on this broadcast as I go across now live to Lucknow, where Brajesh Pathak, the Uttar Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister, who's joining us on this broadcast. Brajesh ji, ये बताइए कि तमाम एजेंसियां इस वक्त उत्तर प्रदेश की, खासतौर से यूपी एंटी टेररिज्म स्क्वाड इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहा है सीमा हैदर के केस को। आपको जो ब्रीफिंग मिली है उसके हिसाब से सीमा की कहानी क्या है? क्या ये एक महिला है जिसको प्रेम हो गया था, या फिर आपको लग रहा है कि ये जासूस है पाकिस्तान की?
देखिए, सुरक्षा एजेंसियां इस मामले में गंभीरता के साथ जांच कर रही हैं। चूंकि मामला बहुत ही संवेदनशील है, इसलिए बहुत कुछ कहना उचित नहीं होगा। पूरे प्रकरण की उच्च स्तरीय जांच हो रही है और हमारा स्टैंड ये है कि हम उत्तर प्रदेश में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को मेंटेन करेंगे। हर स्थिति में किसी को भी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर से खिलवाड़ करने की छूट नहीं है।
नहीं, पर अब तक आपको क्या पता चला है? क्योंकि इसके खुद के 2 पासपोर्ट है, 4 पासपोर्ट इसके बच्चों के हैं, मल्टीपल शिनाख्ती कार्ड्स की बात हो रही है। इन सारी चीज़ों को देखते हुए क्या आपको लगता है कि लॉ एंड ऑर्डर में कुछ खामियां हैं, कुछ कमियां हैं, जिसके चलते सीमा यहाँ पे घुस आई और इस तरीके से इंडिया में रह पा रही थी, नेपाल से आई है इंडिया में?
दरअसल अभी विस्तृत रूप से कुछ बाहर बताया नहीं गया है और अभी हम बहुत कुछ बताने की स्थिति में नहीं हैं। अभी तक जो हमारे को बताना है वो ये है कि पूरा मामला बहुत ही गंभीर है और चूंकि देश की सुरक्षा से जुड़ा है तो संवेदनशील होने के कारण इस मामले की जांच बहुत ही गंभीरता के साथ सुरक्षा एजेंसियों के साथ साथ अभिसूचना की एजेंसियां भी कर रही हैं और पुलिस भी सक्रिय है। जैसे जैसे स्थितियां स्पष्ट होंगी हम आपके सामने पुनः आएंगे। अभी यह स्थिति कि हमारा स्टैंड है कि उत्तर प्रदेश में हम कानून व्यवस्था को और मजबूत करेंगे। किसी को भी कानून व्यवस्था से छेड़छाड़ करने की, खिलवाड़ करने की छूट नहीं है।
मामला सिक्योरिटी का भी है, लड़की की सुरक्षा का, क्योंकि कई ग्रुप्स डिमांड कर रहे हैं कि सीमा को डिपोर्ट किया जाए, वापस पाकिस्तान भेजे जाए। दूसरी तरफ से कहा जा रहा है कि वो हिंदू बन चुकी है, ऐसे में अगर उसको पाकिस्तान वापस भेज दिया जाता है तो हो सकता है कि वहाँ पे उसकी जान को खतरा हो। क्या आप उसको इंडिया में रखने के बारे में सोच रहे हैं या आपको लगता है कि पाकिस्तान उसको भेजा जा सकता है? क्योंकि कई पास्ट केसेस में हमने देखा है कि ऐसे केसेस में जो महिला आई थी उसको वापस भेजा गया।
देखिए हम अभी इस बात को भी हम कुछ कह नहीं पाएंगे। हमारा स्थिति ये है, हम केवल उत्तर प्रदेश में लाइन ऑर्डर को मेंटेन करने की बात कह रहे हैं और किसी भी स्थिति में इसमें किसी प्रकार से खिलवाड़ की छूट नहीं है। सुरक्षा एजेंसियां जांच कर रही हैं और जो भी आगे की कार्रवाई होगी हम आपको बाद में बता पाएंगे।
नहीं, पर सबसे बड़ा सवाल तो मेरे पर्सपेक्टिव से ये है कि ये इंडिया और नेपाल के बीच में उत्तर प्रदेश बिहार से होता हुआ इतना बड़ा, इतना पोरस बॉर्डर है, जो चाहे आ सकता है, जो चाहे जा सकता है, कहीं पे कोई ठीक से चेकिंग नहीं होती। ऐसे में ये तो सीमा का केस बाहर आ गया, लेकिन कितने न जाने पाकिस्तानी एजेंट हैं जो प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंट्स के साथ पाकिस्तान अंदर भेज देता है और हमारे यहाँ पे कोई चेक ही नहीं है। क्योंकि इंडिया और नेपाल में अच्छा रिश्ता है, हमारे बॉर्डर्स ओपन है, तो फ्री फॉर ऑल है, कोई आए कोई जाए, कुछ पता ही नहीं, किसी को कोई ठिकाना नहीं।
जितने भी लूज पोल्स हैं, कहां से प्रवेश किया, उसकी पूरी जांच हो रही है। हम उन स्थितियों पर भी गंभीरता से हमारी सूचना इकाई, सुरक्षा एजेंसियां जांच कर रही हैं कि कहां पर गड़बड़ी हुई है और स्थितियां जब स्पष्ट होंगी तभी हम कुछ कह पाएंगे।
Brajesh Pathak ji, for joining me from Lucknow. Thank you very much. The Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh who's looking at this case closely, joining us on the Newstrack. Listen, don't play Seema auntie, okay? Don't play matchmaker. Don't have a view on whether this is a good couple, whether it looks like there's something amiss about her relationship with Sachin. Just go by the facts. Go by the facts as they come out. Sure, it's a story that's generating interest, of that there is no doubt, but go by the facts, not by your biases, not by what you think seems to have happened, but go by the facts as they emerge. And remember, no agency so far has found any evidence to suggest that she is a spy. But the investigation is still on. Our reporters are on the ground, they're in Sharjah, we've got people in Pakistan, in Nepal, you just saw, in different parts of India. We're tracking the story. We'll continue doing that. I'm slipping into a break. I'll have more for you when we come back on the other side of a quick break. Stay with us.
Alright Carl, I told you, just like the Nothing Phone 2 launch, we want to make this big. So this is our welcome to you in India. We're here, of course, at the iconic Bukhara restaurant in ITC in New Delhi. And I thought we'll get a quick bite. This is a little elaborate, isn't it?
I don't know where to start.
So what we'll do is, let's continue eating and talking a little bit about the first thing that we mentioned at the start of the show, which is about innovation, especially in the smartphone consumer tech world. Do you really think it has stalled? And when you see all these foldables and whatnot coming up, do you still think that this is incremental innovation and not monumental?
I definitely think so. I mean, when I was younger, I used to stay up to watch the keynotes from all the tech companies. Like every generation felt so much better than the previous one. Like the steps were not incremental, they were almost exponential. And it wasn't just the hardware, it wasn't just smartphones, it was the iPod, it was the iPad, the tablets came out. But also on the consumer internet and software side, all of a sudden we had a lot of like new social apps to use. And it was also the time of the App Store revolution. So a lot of apps you could download and try every day. So it just felt like at that moment in time, 10, 15 years ago, that things were just improving really quickly. And then in the last couple of years, say 5 years or so, it's gotten very incremental. Every year, let's make the camera slightly better, a little bit bigger, battery a little bit better, tweak the icons a little bit. Sure, there's a foldables thing now, but I think ultimately it's a bit in the news, but ultimately it's going to be a very niche product. It's good that some people are building it, but if you look at how the foldables are evolving, they're all the same again.
That's true.
All the foldables look very similar. If you don't see the logo anymore, you hide the logo on the foldables, I don't think a consumer can really tell them apart.
So it's safe to say that nothing isn't launching a foldable anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. I don't think it's like, I don't think consumers walk around saying, hey, I wish my phone could fold. I think it's an innovation that the manufacturers are pushing onto the consumer.
The India versus NDA fight also spilled into the Karnataka Assembly, where the BJP protested against the Congress's alleged misuse of IAS officers during the opposition meeting in Bengaluru. After the showdown in the Vidhan Saudha, 10 BJP MLAs were suspended by the Speaker. Former Karnataka Minister Ashwath Narayanan was carried out by marshals. Another BJP MLA, Yattpal, had to be carried out on a wheelchair. Where we wrap up the Newstrack tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye, good night.
The Indian Institute of Technology, the country's premier engineering college, is going overseas. IIT Madras is setting up its first ever international campus in Zanzibar in Tanzania. Professor Preeti Aghalayam, an IIT graduate herself, will be the director of the institute. The first time a woman has been appointed to the top post at IIT Madras.
The type of opportunities women have and the type of aspirations that we can hope for while being on campus have improved dramatically. I know that it's possible as long as we work together as a team and ensuring that when they graduate with our degree far away in Zanzibar, they have the whole world open to them.
Classes at the IIT Madras Zanzibar campus will begin from October with a student intake of 70. According to the IIT, 2 full-time programs will be offered in Zanzibar, a 4-year BSc in Data Science and Artificial Intelligence and a 2-year MTech in Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. The admission process will include screening test and interview.
We have a temporary campus right now that the government has allotted to us. The rooms are all built, so the administrative side, classrooms and also student accommodation, shared accommodation in dorms, everything is there already. We are facilitating a few modifications so that it will be 100% ready in October, which is when we are planning to start. But we are going to evolve the academic plan and have a lot more programs in the coming years as well.
The international campus in Zanzibar Island off the East African mainland is planned as an educational partnership between India and Tanzania. India is also offering scholarships for citizens of Tanzania to study in various degree programs at IIT Madras.
I believe that this educational bond will ensure that we stay strong, and it's a strategic kind of move. It could be a strategic move for the country. We'll have Zanzibari Tanzanian alumni who are from IIT Madras. They do so many good things in terms of contribution to the world and to the world's economy. We hope that this will happen over here as well.
With Shilpa Nair, Bureau Report, India Today.
It is never too late to chase your dream. Anil Kumar Mishra took to art late in his life, but what started as a hobby has become a passion over the years. The 70-year-old from Ramnagar in Jharkhand spends his time giving new life to waste wood.
मैं समझता हूँ कि ये कोई ईश्वरीय देन है, जो शक्ति है, जो मुझे प्रेरणा देता है और मैं इसको कार्य रूप में परिणत कर पाता हूँ.
Mishra's tryst with art started in 2007 when he was a school teacher.
गाछ है बहुत पुराना, हजारों साल पुराना गाछ है जिसमें बहुत सारे दीमक खाए हुए हैं, बहुत टिड्डा रहते हैं सर. और उसी गाछ का टुकड़ा से एक प्रेरणा जगी हमको और उसी गाछ के टुकड़ा से मैं एक बर्ड का भाव आया और मैं उसमें क्रिएशन का शुरुआत वहीं से हुई.
In the beginning, not everyone was his fan.
मुझे तो काफी बुरा लगता था, कभी कोई लड़ाई झगड़ा हो ही जाता था कि पुराना लकड़ी क्यों लेके आ रहे हैं. लकड़ी लाके जब इकट्ठा करना शुरू किए तो थोड़ा हो जाता था झगड़ा. जब बनाना शुरू किए तो जब पूरा बनने लगा तब बन के फिर बहुत अच्छा लगने लगा. अब तो खैर जान गए तो अब कोई बात नहीं.
Now his family and friends bring the raw materials for him.
सपोर्ट मुझे वो अगर गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कुछ मिलता है तो मैं और इसको आगे बढ़ा सकता हूँ.
Mishra has won many prizes for his art. He has created more than 1,000 sculptures. With Rajesh Verma in Ramgarh, Bureau Report, India Today.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.
When Seema Haider reached India, she declared that she had married Sachin in Nepal itself and that she had accepted Hinduism. In India, Seema Haider was seen practicing all rituals of a Hindu married woman, even puja and bhajans. A Muslim woman from Pakistan leaving her husband, living in India and adopting Hinduism. For the radical Muslims of Pakistan, this was no less than a crime. And so the frustrated fundamentalists started threatening the Hindu community in Pakistan. Make no mistake, this was no empty threat. The rocket launchers that were used by Pakistani terrorists are now being used on Hindu temples. However, Pakistan is claiming that the attack on Hindu temple was the handiwork of local dacoits. Reports suggest a gang of dacoits attacked a temple in Pakistan's southern Sindh province. The attack was carried out in the Kashmir area where rocket launchers were fired at Hindu temples and houses. Fortunately, the temple was closed. It is maintained by the Bagdi community and is opened only once a year. Kashmir police says 8 to 9 people were involved in the attack. Pakistan police also suspect that this attack may be linked to Seema Haider's PUBG love story, as fundamentalists had threatened the Hindu community.
श्री मेरी माता का मंदिर है जिसको मुसम्मार किया जा रहा है.
A similar attack took place a few days ago when bulldozers demolished a Hindu shrine. This is not the first time Hindus have been under attack in Pakistan, in the Sindh province especially. Hindus are systematically persecuted and forcibly converted. Bureau Report, India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 37 and minimum 28 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 28 and minimum 25 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 35 and minimum 27 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 24 and minimum 21 degrees. Chennai, maximum 35 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 24 and minimum 21 degrees.
Why does this happen?
Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist.
Co-presented by JK Tyre Ranger Series. Stay wild at heart. Co-powered by Watcho OTT Super App.
One hai to done hai.
Co-powered by the new Kia Seltos, the badass reborn.
Co-powered by Sera. This is your space. Play it your way.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. The big talking point, India versus NDA. Master stroke or too clever by half? That's the question we will read. Also, who will lead the India coalition? Sitaram Yechuri will be among my special guests tonight, joining me on that big subject straight from Bengaluru. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. The India name for the opposition alliance sparks off a controversy. BJP leader from Madhya Pradesh approaches the election commission. Nitish Kumar denies he was against the alliance name. This on a day when the left and the TMC find themselves at loggerheads in Bengal. CPIM says Mamta is a dictator. Day before Parliament monsoon session, Centre says it's ready for a debate on Manipur. Opposition wants Prime Minister to break his silence first amidst more reports of troubling videos coming in from the state. 10 BJP MLAs suspended, marshalled out of the Karnataka Assembly amidst protests against Congress deploying IS officers at an opposition meet. Former Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai among those detained. A Bengaluru terror module busted, 5 suspected terrorists arrested for plotting blasts across the city, bomb-making material, weapons recovered. At least 16 people are killed, several injured after a transformer explodes at the Namami Gange project site in Uttarakhand, Chamoli. SDRF joins rescue operations. Monsoon woes now rock Gujarat. Torrential rain leads to severe waterlogging in several districts like Surat and Gir Somnath. NDRF personnel on standby. Showdown over wrestlers Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia's exemption from the Asian Games trial. Wrestler Antim Pongal moves the court, calls direct qualification unfair. Supreme Court grants relief to activist Teesta Setalvad, grants her regular bail in a case of alleged fabrication of evidence related to the 2002 Gujarat riots, strikes down the High Court order. India to take on Pakistan on September 2 in the Asia Cup. Both teams likely to meet again on the 10th of September in the Super 4 stage as schedule of the tournament gets officially announced. But our top story, a day after in Bengaluru, the opposition called its alliance India, INDIA, a BJP leader has moved the election commission protesting. The BJP leader claims it's a bid to exploit the name of our nation and a disrespect to country and its citizens. A petition has been filed by Ashutosh Dubey, the head of the social media legal department of the BJP in Madhya Pradesh, and he has moved the election commission over the name. Remember, the alliance announced this name yesterday. They say it's an acronym for India Inclusive Democratic Alliance is what they are calling it at the moment. India Nationalist Inclusive Developmental Alliance is what they are calling it at the moment. The BJP leader has moved the EC, claiming it's a bid to exploit the nation's name. Now, whether that works or not before the Election Commission, the truth is that this opposition Grand Alliance has a lot of challenges ahead. The name is one of them. Today, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar insisted that he had no objections with the name, nor did he have personal ambitions after reports filtered that he was not happy with the name India and was upset about not being named convener. A more urgent problem, though, facing this alliance is the fact that two of its constituents, the CPIM and Trinamool Congress, who are rivals in West Bengal, have lashed out at each other. Will this alliance hold together, and will India be able to offer a challenge to the BJP-led alliance? It's our top story tonight.
The Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, or India, an acronym for the opposition that resembles the country's name, was apparently the brainchild of Rahul Gandhi, picked up by Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee.
The fight is a fight to defend the idea of India. And that is why we came up with the name Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, which also happens to stand for India.
इंडिया जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा. भारत जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा.
But were all leaders of India happy with the name? The absence of Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, RJD leaders Lalu Yadav and Tejaswi Yadav at the press meet where the name was announced has set the tongues wagging.
एक तो उनको वो सम्मान नहीं मिला वहाँ बैठक में, उनको वो महत्व नहीं मिला. जो वहाँ पोस्टर बैनर लगे थे उसमें कहीं नीतीश कुमार का नामो निशान नहीं था, लालू यादव का कहीं नामो निशान नहीं था. उल्टे खिलाफ में ही कुछ पोस्टर ज़्यादा लगे हुए थे. तो इन्हीं सब कारणों से कहीं न कहीं नाराज होकर वो निकल आए.
Nitish Kumar on Wednesday denied reports of any divide.
बहुत अच्छा हो गया है और बहुत सर्वसम्मति से हुआ है और ठीक ढंग से हुआ है, तब इसलिए कोई दिक्कत नहीं. हमने जो सुझाव दे ही दिया है, बाकी सब चीज के लिए एकजुट करने के चक्कर में मेरा और कुछ नहीं, ये देश के हित में काम होना चाहिए. मेरा कोई पर्सनल चॉइस.
The India alliance has sparked furious reactions from the BJP. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma changed his Twitter bio from India to Bharat, claiming India was the creation of the colonial era.
भारत और इंडिया की लड़ाई है.
इंडिया का अंग्रेज के गुलामी का परंपरा को लेकर चले वो इंडिया के साथ है और स्वतंत्र भारत स्वाभिमान के साथ दुनिया के सामने डंका पीट रहा है उसके साथ जो है वो इंडिया के साथ।
The opposition's choice of name has sparked a debate on the internet and on the streets.
ये सब एक साथ आए हैं, पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि ये लोग एक साथ आके बैठ के जो है कुछ अगेंस्ट द प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट करना चाहते हैं, तो डेफिनेटली फर्क पड़ेगा इसमें।
It is basically not to criticize that name, brand name. That is what they want to have this name.
It will need a lot more to become effective as an opposition, and if it can do that, then Brand India will have a huge success.
India has one more big issue to settle: leadership. With Mallikarjun Kharge telling opposition leaders the Congress is not hankering for the PM's post, TMC leaders are pitching Mamata Banerjee's name for the top job. The suggestion was promptly rejected by the left.
আমরা চাইবই তো আমাদের নেত্রী, আমাদের সিএম একজন বাঙালি যে হয়নি কখনো, তো আমরা তো চাইবো সেটা, মানে পরের স্টেপ অন্য কথা, কিন্তু চাওয়ার জায়গায় স্বপ্ন দেখাতে অসুবিধা নেই।
और टीएमसी की तानाशाही रुख जो बंगाल में दिखाई दिया है पूरे पंचायत के चुनाव में, जनवाद के ऊपर हमले करके आप जनवाद की रक्षक के नाम पर खड़े होंगे, उसकी बहुत कम क्रेडिबिलिटी है।
Does India work as a name for an electoral alliance? While no one has the answer to that, it is evident the opposition alliance India has many divisions in its ranks, and it will be a bumpy road ahead for them. Bureau Report, India Today.
Which leads me to my first talking point tonight. The name India, is it a master stroke? Or is the opposition being too clever by half? Does a name make any difference to electoral fortunes? Is this a name without a narrative, and is that viable? Has India actually put the BJP on the back foot? Those are questions I will raise. Supriya Srinath is the Congress's national spokesperson, head of its social media and digital teams. Sanju Verma is the BJP's national spokesperson. And Harish Bijur is one of the country's leading brand experts. Join me from Bengaluru. First you, Supriya Srinath. India, are you trying to be too clever by half, or is this, in your view, a bit of a master stroke? I mean, tomorrow if you lose an election, are we going to say India defeated?
There is never a contest when India is on the field, India ever loses, and which is why India will not lose. You pitch against anybody against India, and India always comes out victorious. So your question is hypothetical. Your question I pay no semblance to. India will win. And what is India? You started off your introduction by saying narrative. There is a very serious narrative in this country. That narrative is that Manipur has been burning for over 2 months now. There's a parliament session that's going to begin tomorrow. Will the Prime Minister and his government pretend that Manipur doesn't exist on the map of India, or is he going to take cognizance? Will the Prime Minister and his government admit that tomatoes are being sold for 300 rupees a kg, or will he not talk about it at all? The whole idea of this country, of India, is under attack. Who are we fighting for? We are fighting for the Constitution of India. We are fighting for the voice of people of India. We are fighting for the joblessness of our people. We are fighting for every right of an Indian citizen, and which is why our fight is rightly pitched for a fight for India. The reality is that Mr. Modi, his minions, his ministers, his spokesperson and his troll army doesn't understand what to do with it. So they're going to attack us. You attack us with all your might. I don't really care. But please don't stoop down to attacking India, because that's what you're doing.
So is it, so it is, no, so therefore when you
don't attack India.
No, when you say don't attack India, you're basically saying your alliance is identified with India, is it? Your alliance is identified with India. Is it an acronym, or are you identifying yourself completely with the country called India?
No, I don't understand your question. We represent people, we represent India. So obviously I represent a part of India. We represent the voices of people of India. We represent the voices of the tribals and the Dalits and the marginalized and the oppressed. We represent the voices of women. We represent the voices of youth. We represent the voices of middle class that's reeling under high prices. We represent people from Kutch to the northeast. We represent Manipur. And obviously we represent India, and there is an acronym for it, and it expands into, like you said, Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance, and I don't think anybody should have an issue with that. The point that I'm making is that Mr. Modi has been found floundering. I have never seen the Prime Minister as rattled as he has in the last 24 hours. Even in a government function, he spent 13.5 minutes spewing venom against India's opposition. That's all very good. But the reality is the way Modi's ministers have gone attacking India, the name itself tells you how rattled they are. India is the name of our country. Attack us. Don't take our country down with your venom, with your hatred, with your bigotry. Okay. Stop doing that. You Rajdeep. India and Skill India, Startup India, Digital India, 1 second Khelo India. Why was there no issue raised there? Were you not representing the country? Were you not talking about India when you said New India, and suddenly you have a problem with India as a name?
This is not fair.
Shamelessness. It's brazen shamelessness on your part. It makes you anti-national. You are an anti-national party. Stop attacking India.
You know, you're an anti-national. It's interesting. It's interesting how you're trying to put the boot on the other foot, because the BJP has often called its opponents anti-national. But Sanju Verma, is the Prime Minister rattled?
Rajdeep, I just humbly want half the time that the Congress...
Please let her complete now, Supriya. Yeah, go ahead.
Rajdeep, I did not heckle this lady even once. Not once did I heckle her, and I expect the same courtesy.
Sure.
Which is a bit rich coming from her, but still nonetheless. Rajdeep, I want to say things on a lighter note. Just before coming on your debate, I went to your Twitter handle. And I was not surprised. You have 8.9 million followers on Twitter. I think the largest that any Indian journalist has. You have people who love you and people who hate you. And I'm not saying this by taking any digs at you. But if tomorrow I change Rajdeep Sardesai's name to Gaurav Sardesai or Rahul Sardesai or Arun Sardesai, will the core DNA of Rajdeep Sardesai change? Yes or no? The answer is no. Or for that matter, Sanju Verma. You change Sanju Verma to Sangeeta Verma or Sanjukta Verma or Suhana Verma. The core DNA of Sanju Verma will not change. Or for that matter, Supriya Srinath ko aap Kupriya Srinath ya Shri Priya Srinath banao, her core DNA will not change. So changing names, saying we represent India because the name of our alliance is that, is a very juvenile and puerile argument. Point number one. Point number two. राजनीति में राजदीप एक कहावत है, जो जीता वही सिकंदर. And anyone who denies this is the proverbial ostrich living in La La Land. And these are numbers that I've taken when you were on your show with your colleague Preeti Chaudhary a couple of hours back. What is the current status of the BJP-led NDA in Lok Sabha? 331 seats, the other side 140. What is the strength of the BJP-led NDA in Rajya Sabha? 134, the other side 93. Now, I have this to say. In any alliance, Rajdeep, the pivot or the fulcrum is very important, because that is going to decide how the alliance will pan out. Now, BJP standalone in 2019 got 303. The Congress, which is supposedly the largest party and the pivot on the other side, got 52 seats. 303 versus 52. We are almost 5.83 times larger than the largest party on the other side. This is my other point. So there is no comparison. As far as numbers go,
your final point,
beat the BJP.
Your final point.
Rajdeep, let me give me at least 1 minute more. I heard Supriya's speech for 10 minutes. She did not make any sense. Now, speaking of democracy khatre mein hai. Democracy khatre mein hai is a party who is giving us bhashan on democracy. A party like the Congress, forget about Indira Gandhi, who imposed 21 months emergency in 1975, where more than 1 million people were forcibly arrested without a warrant and 10 million were forcibly sterilized. I'm giving you some numbers from the Parliament Library archives, which I got before your debate. Jawaharlal Nehru imposed Article 356 7 times, Rajiv Gandhi 6 times, Narasimha Rao 11 times, Manmohan Singh 10 times, Indira Gandhi 48 times. So in the period that the Congress ruled, Article 356 was used 83 times. And I've got the comparison for Narendra Modi and Atal Bihari Vajpayee. In his tenure, Atal Bihari Vajpayee imposed President's Rule 5 times, Narendra Modi 4 times, so total 9 times. 83 times Congress has imposed President's Rule, BJP 9 times, और ये कांग्रेस पार्टी की जुर्रत देखो कि हमको डेमोक्रेसी पर भाषण देती है. I will end with one line. I will end with one line. Indulge me.
Yes.
You believe your boss Arun Puri, right? He's your boss, right?
Yes.
I will read out a very interesting 4 lines from Arun Puri, and you should not interrupt me. This is from the February 6th, 2023 edition of your magazine India Today, and this is what Arun Puri writes. He wrote this after your Mood of the Nation poll. He says, Mood of the Nation has reflected the flux of India's polity, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, lot of things have changed. But over the past decade, one fact has stood invariable like a porn star, the persona of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the enormous public credibility it carries. Modi has emerged as a unique helmsman and leader figure of 21st century India, seemingly untouched by storm, undimmed by time, and immune to competition. This is Arun Puri of India Today in the February 2023 edition.
I have allowed you uninterrupted time for 2.5 minutes. Now, do not complain again that you're always intervened. You have been allowed now silence.
Can I please come in?
Yeah, before you come in, I just want Harish Bijuru listening, because Harish Bijur, I'll allow you, Supriya, to respond. Harish Bijur, we are looking at branding here. Politics is a lot, particularly in this age of multimedia, about branding, about marketing. You've got the opposition which has got the acronym India. Do you think it's a master stroke, or are they being too clever by half?
Okay, Radhip, I hope my comments are going to be seen with the neutrality it deserves to be seen with. I'm really speaking branding. And I'm saying that, is it a master stroke? Well, it certainly is a stroke. Whether it's a master stroke or not, only time will tell. It is a stroke because a name is what a name does. And if you really look at the way in which India is trending, it tells a story to say that if at worst this coalition has actually created a bit of a hangama with a name. So in terms of attention, in terms of interest, in terms of the desire to understand what's happening, it's perked that up. But then what's in a name? I mean, going back to Shakespeare, I think there's plenty for sure, at least in the way and manner in which this has been unveiled. I think a name is a skin, and I think that skin has been put together very well initially by this coalition of 26 parties. But the body needs to fall into part, the individual body parts need to fall into part, and most importantly, the interstitium, which keeps these body parts together, needs to be knitted together. So, name is one, leadership is another. Possibly, we'll see each one of it being cobbled together slowly. Okay, but so as a name, I think it's created enough of a hangama.
Okay, so it's a creative name that has been disruptionist, created a hangama. But the name is a small part. You're going to have to fit in nuts and bolts, Supriya, Srinath. What's in a name? Is this, as I said at the outset, an attempt to create a disruption, to challenge the BJP over their seemingly monopoly over India first? Is that the aim? Was that the real goal, to somehow say, look, you don't have a monopoly over the India name? And I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to play in a moment what the Prime Minister did a few years ago when he was on the campaign trail. Just listening to Prime Minister Modi when he was at a speech, okay, we'll come to that in a moment, but Supriya, Srinath, respond.
I have 2 things to add to this debate, and I add them very fearlessly. I am not going to spoil people's names here. Let's keep this debate dignified. Difficult to expect the BJP to do, but let's try and make an attempt. Not definitely from this spokesperson. But the reality is that the Prime Minister till 2 months back was thumping his chest and saying, ek akela, ek akela, ek akela. उस एक अकेले को 38 की जरूरत पड़ गई, 2 और ऐड कर लीजिए, अलीबाबा बन जाइएगा और उनकी टीम बन जाइएगा. That's the reality. The reality is that when the Prime Minister was standing and pleading before the NDA allies, 38 of them who he had collected, 24 of them have 0 MPs. A big 0 MPs. 7 of them have 1 MP each. So the Prime Minister standing before those allies and invoking Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Advani ji. Very good. You finally remember the stalwarts on whose shoulders you came here, who you have put in mental coma in Margdarshak Mandal. But the reality is that the Prime Minister stands there and says 3 very interesting things. I don't know if you missed them. The first thing he tells them is that in my last 9 years, I may have been busy and you may have not found an appointment with me. I seek an apology. He then says, because of my SPG, sometimes you may have not found a seat which you rightly deserved and you were forced to sit in the crowd. I apologize for this. And then he says, sometimes your name may have not been printed on a card and I apologize for this. These are not signs of somebody who's ek akela sab par bhari. These are signs of a rattled, baffled Prime Minister. The reality, Rajdeep, is that Bharat ko humne joda, Bharat jodo yatra karke और इंडिया को जिताएंगे. असलियत यह है कि जुड़ेगा भारत और जीतेगा इंडिया. उससे इनके होश पाकता है.
Okay, जुड़ेगा भारत.
If I am speaking and you are continuously heckling and intervening, जुड़ेगा भारत और जीतेगा इंडिया. और इसी से ये घबराते हैं. इनके पास कोई चारा बचा नहीं है.
Okay, ma'am, you made your point. I have some regard for my age. I find it difficult to deal with. It isn't easy to give you all equal time. Let me try to do that though. That Sanju Verma, there is some truth in saying that the Prime Minister until now has believed he has the mastery on these acronyms: Startup India, Stand Up India, New India, Amrit. He's always looking for something. Now, when he does it, it's okay. When the opposition does it, you seem to have a problem. I'll just play that. No, just listen to what the Prime Minister said at a public gathering and then I want you to respond. Please play what Mr. Modi had said then.
दल के लिए नहीं, देश के लिए वोट करिए. और हम कहना चाहते हैं, वोट फॉर इंडिया. वोट फॉर इंडिया. भाइयों बहनों, मैं बोलता हूं, आप पीछे बोलना वोट फॉर इंडिया. बोलेंगे? आपको बोलना है वोट फॉर इंडिया. बोलेंगे? वंशवाद से मुक्ति के लिए वोट फॉर इंडिया.
You want to respond, Sanju Verma? The India word is not a BJP monopoly.
Okay, I'll respond, Rajdeep. I'm glad you played that out. In fact, I have to tell you, I have a great memory and most of Prime Minister's speeches, I know them by heart. I will say this, I don't want to get into this puerile debate about India versus Bharat because I genuinely believe, and I say this as the national spokesperson of the largest political organization globally. Article 1 of the Constitution starts with the phrase, India, that is Bharat. So, I think we look at India and Bharat synonymously. I'm not getting into the semantics and the divisive debate around it, but I will say this. Time and again, the other panelists spoke about Modi ji was pleading with 38 allies, please come and join us, blah, blah, blah. तो मैं एक बात कहना चाहती हूँ, बड़े बेआबरू होकर तेरे कूचे से हम निकले, बड़े बेआबरू होकर तेरे कूचे से हम निकले, बहुत मेरे अरमान निकले, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ कम निकले. A party that has been abusing the Prime Minister was reduced to 44 seats in 2014, and I'm talking the great Mahashay, मोहब्बत की दुकान के पहरेदार Rahul Gandhi, and in 2019 his मोहब्बत की दुकान garnered only 52 seats. So first look at your own backyard. Without numbers you are a big zero, and that is where you will be in 2024. But give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds.
I'm counting.
I will tell you why we are super confident. I will tell you why we are super confident. I think the reliability factor in any alliance is very important. Be it the I.K. Gujral government, be it the H.D. Devegowda government, be it the Chandrasekhar government, or for that matter, the fact that Rajiv Gandhi and V.P. Singh had a very public spat and fallout. History is a testimony to the fact that Congress has always left its alliance partners high and dry. And madam, since you talk about Manipur in 15 seconds, Rajdeep, 15 seconds. In Karnataka, in the last 15 days only, Rajdeep, 15 seconds. A minor gang rape, a cop killed by sand mafia, a RTI activist killed in police custody, two RTI two toll booth operators, shot at point blank range, and the electricity minister involved in a bribe, accepting 10 crore for promotion, 10 crore for transfer.
Producer,
Karnataka law and order has
ma'am, you know, I have to bring your voice down because the fact, you see, because you want, you know, the fact is, let's not compare what's happened in Manipur where 130 people have died. We are now getting reports of a possible gang rape that's taken place there. Let's not compare it. Violence is violence of a kind that needs to be condemned. And therefore, you know, the worst thing we can do is engage in this kind of whataboutery over violence. So let's not do that. Let's not normalize violence of any kind. That's the reality, ma'am, on the ground. I just want to bring in Harish Bijur for a final word because Harish Bijur, if you were advising both these alliances, one is called NDA, one is called India, what's the one piece of advice you would give each as we go up to 2024, probably from a branding perspective?
Well, to the India coalition, I would say that a name alone isn't important. A name is but a skin, put together the body and the rest of it that needs to come by. As far as the BJP and the NDA side of it, I would say at the end of the day, I think it's work that counts. It possibly is very, very important to showcase reality. And I think importantly, this is going to emerge to be a Bharat versus India debate. But naughtily, I would say the Congress and the rest of the parties have actually got the nomenclature right because, you know, naughtily speaking, India is a unity in diversity. And if you really look at the coalition of 26 parties as well, it looks like a lot of diversity. And if the attempt is to bring
Can I please make a 10-second point?
I will give both of you 20 seconds each. I have a Sitaram Yechuri interview coming up. I will give you 20 seconds each. First, you, Supriya Srinath, is this India versus Bharat? Are you ready for the BJP to make it India versus Bharat? That they are authentic, you are a coalition of diverse interests, but do not have anything common.
No, absolutely not. This is not India versus Bharat. Only somebody who doesn't understand either India or the sense of Bharat will say something like this. But I'm glad that something was said here. It looks like Hemanta Biswa Sarma, your ministers are being berated because they are the ones who are diluting this debate to India versus Bharat. Tell them to shut up and listen to the Prime Minister who says vote for India. Also, one more thing. Since
please
there
bring
is
down
nothing in a
Sanju's
name,
voice.
why are you changing names of cities like Gurgaon? Why are you changing names of cities like Allahabad and Gurgaon? Why are you changing Rajpath? Since there's nothing in a name, there is nothing in. Why are you changing names of cities in this country? Has anything changed in Prayagraj because its name has been changed, or in Faizabad, or for that matter in Gurgaon or Rajpath? The reality is that you want to hog the limelight when you do things, but you have been stepped, and you have been stepped in your saddles with India. You do not know how to react. And this is your frustration speaking. But guess what? A fight against India is no contest at all. India alone always wins. And history will be repeated one more time.
Okay, I will give 30 seconds to Sanju Verma in the interest of failure. Your time starts now. Are you frustrated?
Rajdeep, I will again start with the kahavat. You know, there is a famous saying, हमें मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत क्या है. हमें मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत क्या है, लेकिन दिल को खुश करने के लिए गालिब एक ख्याल अच्छा है. The entire opposition is living in La La Land. They are united by one thing. Their visceral hatred for Narendra Modi. And they are divided by one thing also. Their prime ministerial ambitions.
You have collected together.
Shut up now. I did not heckle you. Shut up.
No, don't please. No, ma'am, you cannot do this. No, shut up and all is not acceptable. This must stop. No, you cannot use words like shut up. Sorry. Please apologize for that. No one can use this word shut up. She's listening to you. Supriya's voice down. You have 20 seconds left.
Thank you.
You have 20 seconds left. 20, I'm counting quickly.
Rajdeep, I just have this to say. The road to Delhi comes via Lucknow. BJP got 73 seats in Uttar Pradesh Lok Sabha 2014. From Uttar Pradesh in 2019, out of 80 seats, we got 62. Congress got 2 seats in Lok Sabha 2014 from Uttar Pradesh. 1 seat only in Raebareli from 2019 from Uttar Pradesh. Rahul Gandhi lost his bastion Amethi. Without Uttar Pradesh, you cannot win.
Okay, so you believe you are giving us the numbers. You believe that, producer, you believe the numbers go against the Congress, that branding is not enough. The reality is the numbers are against them. Supriya Srinath believes that the BJP at the moment is rattled and frustrated with the use of the name India. Either way, at least we have an interesting debate over a name. Thank you all very much for joining me on the news today. Okay, let's turn from that to what is the real concern that maybe this opposition will have. How do you unite parties that have differences on the ground? For example, in Bengal, CPIM and TMC are once again at loggerheads. The TMC even projecting Mamta as a potential PM face, while the CPIM says there will be no seat sharing. Listen into the two sides.
পশ্চিমবঙ্গে হিংসা নয়, এই হিংসাটা হচ্ছে ঠিক যে যে রাজ্যে সিপিএম ক্ষমতায় ছিল। দেখা যাবে ত্রিপুরায় গন্ডগোল আছে, আমাদের রাজ্যে গন্ডগোল আছে এবং কেরালায় গন্ডগোল আছে। ঠিক সেই তিনটে রাজ্যেই আরে আম গাছের বীজ পুঁতলে আম হবে, জাম গাছের বীজ পুঁতলে জাম হবে, আর বিষ গাছের বীজ পুঁতলে বিষ হবে। তারাই এই রাজ্যেতে যে অশান্তি জন্ম দিয়ে গেছে, যে সন্ত্রাস জন্ম দিয়ে গেছে।
नेशनल सिचुएशन अलग है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, लेकिन इसमें शक है ममता बनर्जी कितना दिन रहेंगे। ममता बनर्जी को अपोजिशन यूनिटी में रहना बहुत मुश्किल की बात है, क्योंकि ममता बनर्जी वो बीजेपी का नेचुरल अलाय है। बंगाल का पॉलिटिक्स का ये जो सिचुएशन अभी आया है एंटी ममता वेव, इससे बचने के लिए वो अपने थोड़ा सा इमेज बिल्डअप की कोशिश में है।
আমরা চাইবই তো আমাদের নেত্রী, আমাদের সিএম একজন বাঙালি যে হয়নি কখনো, তো আমরা তো চাইবো সেটা। মানে পরের স্টেপ অন্য কথা, কিন্তু চাওয়ার জায়গায় স্বপ্ন দেখাতে অসুবিধা নেই।
और टीएमसी की तानाशाही रुख जो बंगाल में दिखाई दिया है पूरे पंचायत के चुनाव में, जनवाद के ऊपर हमले करके आप जनवाद की रक्षक के नाम पर खड़े होंगे, उसकी बहुत कम क्रेडिबिलिटी है।
And joining me now is one of my newsmakers tonight. I'm joined by the CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury, who was present at that opposition meeting in Bengaluru yesterday. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Yechury. Let's start first with what's become a bit of a controversy, the name India. Is it true that you were among those who had reservations about this name? There were several others also who were not completely convinced about using the name India for this alliance?
No, not really reservations. There was a lot of discussion over what should happen. I mean, in fact, I had suggested that we should call ourselves We for India. That was agreed upon, saying it's a very good slogan, but then why don't we expand India? And then that expansion process, everybody contributed, so it became Indian National Developmental and Inclusive Alliance. And over the various other names, I mean, options were suggested for each alphabet in India. But finally, this is what the consensus was.
So you wanted the name We for India. The BJP, at least a section of the BJP, seems to suggest that this is an attempt by this opposition coalition to hijack the name India. That you shouldn't be taking the name of a country. You should be, a political party should be careful when they do that. How do you respond? Do you believe this acronym is simply clever branding by the opposition?
Well, what is the BJP's election symbol? Is it the national flower? Is that appropriate? What are they complaining about?
They seem to suggest that this alliance is misusing the name India. You're misusing the name India. You should be careful when you use the name of a country as your acronym.
It's as good as to say, we are saying it's INDIA. That is the abbreviation.
Okay.
And if they are using lotus as the election symbol, is this misusing the Indian national flower?
Okay, so you're...
Is it tantamount to that?
Okay, so you're saying the BJP should look at its own symbol. Let's turn though to the meat of what many believe is the major challenge for you. One thing to put out a name, but your real nuts and bolts will include elements like, for example, seat sharing. It seems that you've already made it very clear there will be no seat-sharing alliance with the Trinamool Congress in Bengal. I mean, you all are having supper and dining out together at the West End Hotel in Bengaluru, and you all are in a bloody fight in Kolkata. Make sense of this for us. What will your cadres think that Sitaram Yechury is on the same dinner table with Mamta Banerjee?
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Bangalore is far away from Calcutta. Next door is Kerala. And in Kerala, the CPM and the Congress are lodged in a direct flight. It's between the two of us. And that's why the BJP doesn't get even a single MLA elected. So does it mean that one of us should stop fighting in Kerala? Will the Congress stop fighting us in Kerala? What logic is this? I mean, these are elections at the state level. At the state level, the actual nitty-gritties and the nuts and bolts, like you have said, that will have to be worked out. That's a process that is begun.
No, Mr. Yechuri, let me just say that you've just gone through a very fractious, bitter, bloody panchayat poll in Bengal, where you and the Trinamool have been at each other's throats, literally. Now you go to Bengaluru and you decide you're all part of one alliance. Make sense of that for us. When you say these are state issues, how do you reconcile that?
Please understand one thing, Rajdeep. Please understand one thing. Don't go into a hyperbole. This is an understanding amongst the secular-minded parties that BJP has to be kept away from controlling the reins of government and state power. This is the coming together of these parties. And don't get onto a hyperbole about sitting and having supper here and then fighting there. It will be fought there. The ground level realities in various states are different. It is different in Kerala, it is different in Bengal, and those differences will be ironed out by the people in these elections. And there's nothing new about it. I'm sure you are old enough to recollect, Rajdeep, 2004. 61 left MPs were elected to the Lok Sabha. 57 of them came defeating the Congress candidate. And then we supported the Manmohan Singh government.
But may
in the interest of the country.
No, but may I remind you, Mr. Yechuri, that was a post-poll alliance. Now you're planning on a pre-poll alliance, which you're now calling an understanding. I want clarity. You're saying you will fight the Trinamool Congress in Bengal.
Sorry.
You will fight the Trinamool Congress in Bengal and then align with them post-election. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Whatever happens post-election, let us see, but at the ground level. And you are forgetting. You're forgetting in 2004 also there was understandings and we fought the elections in various states. And the whole issue right now is what is the major priority before the country. That is to safeguard the secular democratic character of the Indian Republic. For that it is essential that the BJP must be separated from controlling the reins of government and state power. That is the task for which all these parties have come together. And that is all it's about. What alliances will be worked out at the state level.
Right.
There won't be any alliances at the All India level.
So
All India level alliances will be post-election only.
Okay, you're making an important point.
This will be alliances at the state level, and each state has its own concrete reality is different.
Okay, so you're saying that you will fight on your own, you will not fight at the state level with the Trinamool Congress, any understanding will be post-poll. But you see, you're essentially saying what Narendra Modi is saying is the problem with your alliance. He says this alliance is about self-preservation, this alliance is about Modi Hatao, and he's talking about Desh Badao. That you all have a single point agenda, remove Mr. Modi at all costs. It's a negative alliance.
Are you acting a proxy for Mr. Modi now?
I'm telling you what he said yesterday.
No, you answer me the question. After 9 years, why? No. After 9 years, why was the NDA resurrected? Where is that arrogance saying that I have got the absolute authority and majority in the mandate of the people as a single, with the full majority? Why scramble together suddenly on the same day? 38 parties put together? It doesn't require much intelligence to understand why that was done except a panic reaction. Whatever they may say, the fact of the matter is that today, in defense of the secular democratic character of the Indian Republic, these forces have all come together with that determination that this has to be safeguarded.
But
that means BJP has to be kept out of the government and
so is it therefore a negative alliance? What is the positive narrative that this alliance is going to offer beyond, as I said, defeating Mr. Modi at all costs.
Wait. You will wait and see. Defeating at Modi at all costs was the point. Where have they? Now tell me the number of states they have with them. How many states does the non-BJP government have? So what is this great hoo-ha that you are making about just because he said, and therefore you have to repeat it? The fact of the matter is that they in a scramble put together 38 parties. That in itself is a betrayal of the fact that they are seeing the writing on the wall.
Who will be the leader of your coalition is another question. Who will lead India? Who will lead your team India? Will you have a convener or a leader who will be projected as your prime ministerial face, Mr. Yechuri?
May I take you back 20 years ago when you asked me the same question vis-a-vis Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee? And I told you the leader will emerge post-election, and you had a leader. And for 10 years, Dr. Manmohan Singh served as the Prime Minister of India. Remember?
No, I remember, so Mr. Yechuri, very clearly, but you seem to be drawing a parallel, therefore, between 2024 and 2004. There will be those who will say that Narendra Modi is not Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He's not going to give you the same space. He, in fact, is saying not just that it is about Modi Hatao, he's saying this is a coalition of the corrupt and of Parivarvad. These are his two other planks. How are you going to combat him?
Yeah, I know. What is there to combat? They've been saying this for donkey's years. Is this anything new from the BJP? They have been saying this and they keep losing the elections in the states. What happened in Karnataka? What happened in Himachal? They said all these things, what you're saying.
So you will not choose a leader pre-alliance. You will not
see the ground reality.
So you're saying no prime ministerial face. Am I correct? You're not making this a presidential context. Modi versus who? You're staying away from.
India is a parliamentary democracy. People elect their members of parliament. They don't elect the prime minister. The members of parliament who have a majority elect their leader, who becomes the prime minister. We follow that system.
I just want to understand, though, Mr. Yechuri, that you're saying that you will have a common minimum program. You will have an agenda that you will offer in the months ahead. Am I correct? It's not just now limited to a name. There will be an agenda that you will offer the people, which will tell us what this coalition is about. Or will that also happen only post-poll, like 2004?
Yes, there will be an agenda with which we'll go to the people. What needs to be done? Each one of us.
Okay, Sitaram Yechuri there, and you can watch the entire interview with Mr. Yechuri on our digital network. That was Sitaram Yechuri speaking to me earlier today. Okay, let's take a break at this point. When we return, monsoon woes rock Gujarat. Torrential rains leading to several waterlogging. We'll have our ground report. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
I want to ask you, how far is 21,000 on the Nifty now?
Yeah, so I think markets would continue to achieve new milestones going ahead. What we are eyeing right now is 20,150. So ideally, as per technical analysis, whenever any stock or the index trades its all-time high, so it's a reciprocal retracement theory, which gives us the target projections or the next resistance projections. Now 161.8% retracement of the previous correction that we saw in the Nifty, the one which bottomed out around 16,800. That level is coming around 20,150. So I think as of now, for short-term perspective, maybe later half of this month or early next month, we would see 20,150 getting achieved. And yes, once that is surpassed, then 21,000 also would not be, it would not take much time.
So Ruchit, now tell us, how do investors make money at record high markets? What's the strategy that they should adopt right now?
So one should adopt a stock-specific strategy over here. See, all the markets, if you see the broader markets, most of the sectors have participated in this up move. So I think auto is one name where we have continuously witnessed a good momentum of late. So I think this trend is likely to continue going ahead. Escorts, Ashok Leyland, then Tata Motors, these are some of the names which would continue this outperformance.
To the latest update over the monsoons after wreaking havoc in the Himalayan states, monsoon now causing mayhem in western India. While parts of Maharashtra are reeling under heavy downpours, several parts of the state including Mumbai and Navi Mumbai have also experienced the rainfall. A red alert sounded now for the Konkan, Raigad and Palghar districts. Also, Gujarat is witnessing heavy flooding due to the incessant rainfall, especially Gir Somnath district and Surat. Gir receiving the highest rainfall of 345 mm in just 14 hours since 6 a.m. on Tuesday. It brings us to our special Get Real India story. The rising levels of the Ganga now hitting daily life in Uttarakhand. All the focus has been on Himachal in recent days. Here, shops and markets are shut. Lack of electricity supply, food supply is causing distress as well. Milan Sharma with tonight's ground report.
The Ganga is flowing close to the danger mark in Haridwar. As the water level rises, the mighty river is creating its own path, inundating factories, mills and fields. Shops and markets are flooded. Many shops remain shut due to heavy waterlogging. Haridwar and Laksar areas have received heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours.
दुकान में पानी था, छाती था पानी था दुकान पे, ऊपर तक नापा पानी था, पूरी गाड़ी डूबी पड़ी थी। ये 4 दिन अब लाइट नहीं थी।
अच्छा,
बंद था, पूरा टावर डूबा पड़ा था। ये
4 दिन बिजली नहीं थी।
हाँ जी, बिजली नहीं थी यहाँ पर।
जो हमारी जमीन है वो जमीन यहाँ पर भी आती है, बट जमीन का कुछ नहीं बचा है। जितनी फसल थी सारी बर्बाद हो चुकी है। और जो घरों का हाल रहने लायक अब रहा नहीं है कि उसके में बंदा वापस रह सकता है। पर पर्सन एक हाउस का आप ये मान लीजिए कि 2-3 लाख नुकसान आराम से है।
Farmers in Haridwar are badly hit. Official estimates say more than 7,000 acres of fields are underwater.
इस बारी जो पानी आया है बाढ़ का, पहले भी बाढ़ का पानी आता था।
हाँ, पहले बहुत कम आता था, ऐसा नहीं आया था।
तो अभी बहुत ज्यादा है।
हाँ, ज्यादा है। इसमें तो आप देख लो, चारों तरफ घूम कर फिर के देखो कैसे कैसे हालत हो रही है। और जिन खेत में पानी रुक जाएगा और वो फिर गर्म होगा, जो बच भी रही फसल वो भी मारी जाएगी।
Farmers claim the Ganga has carried with it red silt that is destroying crops.
इस बार मैडम ये परेशानी हो रही है कि पहले जो बाढ़ का पानी आता था वो जब उतर जाता था तो फसल हमारी जो गन्ने की फसल थी उस पर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था। लेकिन इस बार कुछ इस तरह का केमिकल इस पानी में आया है। आप देखिए पीछे मेरे, ये देखिए इस फसल को, ये पूरा रेड होकर और सूख गई, फसल डैमेज हो गई 100 की 100%।
If more water flows from the Srinagar Dam and is released, it will enter the Ganga barrage, flowing downstream from here. And of course, as the water level rises, it will result in life falling in disarray in low-lying areas of Haridwar region, resulting in problems in the aftermath of the flooding situation in the state. With Amit Badwar, Milan Sharma from Uttarakhand, Haridwar, India Today.
Monsoon woes across the country. We hope you stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubh Ratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Is it getting a bit frothy, or do you believe that the bull run is here to stay?
Yeah, I think first of all, thank you, Sakshi, for inviting me. I think the markets are, extremely buoyant, largely because of the liquidity flows which we are getting from the FIs. In fact, in the last few months, I think since April, since the market started rising, we have been seeing that Indian markets have attracted a lot of liquidity from these foreign institutional investors. And I think today we had hit a high of 19,800. After that, there was some profit booking. But my sense is that, if corporate results are better than expectations and, the Fed policy, which is due for July 25th, if there is some mild positive surprise in terms of the commentary from Mr. Powell, then I think the markets could head to higher odd levels. And I think we should not be surprised. The markets could possibly even look at touching 20,000 in the very near term. But I think it would be a gradual journey from here on.
What is the right way to approach the market right now? What should one do and what should one not do when the markets are at record levels?
See, I think for investors who have participated in this rally and have made a decent amount of profits, my suggestion is that, this is a very volatile market and we are going to see higher levels. But in the intermediate, it's always better to book your, book profits regularly, because, that is how you can secure your margin of safety. So I think at least once your capital is recovered, then I think the investor is at ease, whatever index level the market throws up. So that strategy, I think investors should do. They should not stick only to paper profits. They should convert them to some cash flow. Secondly, for investors who want to enter the markets now, I think be careful about penny stocks and companies, which are not tried and tested. There are many companies which are, running into 52-week highs without any track record or balance sheet strength. So I think focus on quality, focus on the promoter, and look at the sector. I think clearly the sectors which I mentioned are all sectors which probably could show very strong earnings growth for the next 6 to 12 months. So I think you need to be a little selective at this point of time to ensure that you get a decent alpha in the next 6 to 12 months.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Do you see consolidation of the electric vehicle industry? Because there are nearly about 350 plus companies in the EV space manufacturing or vendor supplying. So do you see a consolidation of only good amount of players who are manufacturing good products stay in the market, and of course the companies who are actually not, actually who are relying on the FAME subsidy are weeded out?
I think you're already seeing that people who have not focused on innovation and have not focused on technology and engineering, you're already seeing a lot of them folding up. In fact, a lot of smaller players who were just doing assembly of products right here in India and were not following the norms are obviously do not exist anymore. So I would not say that consolidation or not, I don't know. But all I know is that people who can focus on engineering and innovation will be able to survive because that allows them to build products at a cost which consumers can afford. Otherwise, if you are dependent upon the government subsidies, then there is no way out in terms of the cost that you will be able to offer to the consumers. And whoever is able to do that will obviously survive. We had this focus and we started this journey 1.5 2 years back, even before any one of us were thinking about FAME subsidies. We were prepared for it, and we are going to be prepared for it in the future also. In fact, just this month when we launch S1 Air, which is our most anticipated product, which we believe is going to truly change the nature of the industry and increase the penetration of EVs multifold, I think is going to be a game-changing and disruptive moment at the price that we are launching it, and the kind of product that we are launching is all been possible because of our continuous engineering efforts through the last 1.5 2 years. So I think whoever continues to do so, consumers are out there to buy EVs. And in fact, after this month, you will see in July, August, and the quarter next, the curve of EV adoption is going to be exponential and primarily led by us because of the products that we are going to launch this month and, of course, on our annual launch day on August 15.
Evening viewers, let's take a look at the weather report across the major cities this evening. Thiruvananthapuram is at 31 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 23. Mumbai is at 27 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 40. Panji is at 26 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 26. Ahmedabad is at 32 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 56. Bhopal is at 30 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 21. Jaipur is at 31 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 46. Delhi is at 33 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 120. Srinagar is at 33 degrees Celsius with AQI being 26. Lucknow is at 39 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 62. Patna is at 39 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 44. Kolkata is at 30 degrees with an AQI of 30. Hyderabad is at 26 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 34. Bangalore is at 28 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 23. Chennai is at 35 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 28. This is all we have for you in this segment. Hope wherever you are, you find favorable weather around you. Keep watching India Today for all the weather updates with me, AI Sana, all through the day.
Co-powered by the new Kia Seltos, the badass reborn. Extra safe polycab green wire.
Did Pakistani national Seema Haider send friend requests to army jawans? Police questioned Seema on her social media accounts. Sensational new disclosures in the Seema Haider case. Was the Pakistani citizen trying to widen her contact base in and around Delhi? From 2 passports to several deleted files on her mobile phones, several unanswered questions in the Seema Haider probe. Was she an ISI sleeper cell close to the national capital, or an innocent woman caught in a cross-border web of distrust? The Seema Haider probe is our top focus on India First.
There's been a massive Russian airstrike and missile strikes in the southern Ukrainian port city of Odessa. This is the biggest missile strike on Odessa since the start of the conflict in February 2022. Russian Navy, Russian Air Force and Russian missile forces have simultaneously struck multiple locations in the southern Ukrainian port city of Odessa, and this attack is being seen as Russia's retaliation for Ukrainian forces targeting the Crimea bridge. This missile strike is believed to have struck not just the granaries and the port, but also military installations, an airbase, an aviation school and grain storage depots, along with what is believed to be or suspected to be an ammunition depot. You're looking at those images that are coming in from Odessa. Massive plumes of smoke and fires in several localities of this very rich port city of Ukraine. The missile strikes are pinpointed and aimed to degrade Ukraine's capabilities to use the ports and related facilities in the southern part of the country and access the Black Sea. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We will get you much more on this big story and we'll get you reports from Odessa. But first, as always, the headlines. India name for opposition alliance sparks off a massive controversy. BJP leader from Madhya Pradesh approaches the election commission. Nitish Kumar denies he was against the alliance name. Left and TMC at loggerheads already in Bengal. Ten BJP MLAs suspended and marshalled out of the Karnataka Assembly amid protests against the Congress deploying IAS officers at an opposition meet. Former Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai also detained. Bengaluru terror module busted. 5 suspected terrorists arrested for plotting blasts across the city. Bomb-making material and weapons recovered. At least 16 killed and several injured after a transformer explodes at a Namami Gange project site in Uttarakhand's Chamoli. SDRF joins rescue operations. Showdown over wrestler Vinesh Fogart and Bajrang Punia's exemption from Asian Games trials. Wrestler Antim Pangal moves court, calls direct qualification unfair. We now have more details coming in of the massive missile strikes and airstrikes that have taken place on the southern port city of Odessa in Ukraine. We are told critical port infrastructure has been targeted in the Russian airstrikes and missile strikes. Ukraine has said at least 63 missiles have been launched by Russian forces and more than 30 have been intercepted. 63 missiles have been launched. Ukraine has claimed close to 60,000 tons of grain has been destroyed in these missile strikes. Ukraine has described the missile strikes as truly massive and very powerful. This is the second night of massive airstrikes in a row, but extremely intense according to initial reports that are filtering out of this southern port city. Incidentally, the missile strikes in the port city come days after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced pulling out of the Black Sea grain initiative. Hours before, the agreement was to have run its course. Multiple grain warehouses are reportedly on fire even as we speak. You're looking at those images there on your television screen. Reports also say it's not just the grain depots, but even oil depots and oil storage tanks have been set on fire in this precision missile strike. Several civilians, the information that we are getting as of now is several civilians are feared injured in these missile strikes launched from ground, air and sea by Russian forces. It's a very massive coordinated attack which is being seen as Russia's retaliation for the targeting of that bridge connecting Crimea by these Ukrainian forces. At least that is what is being claimed. Ukrainian forces claimed they have successfully shot down several missiles and at least 8 Iranian-made Shahid 136 kamikaze drones have been shot down. But the apprehension is, and when you look at those images that are coming in from Ukraine, some of these drones, these kamikaze drones or suicide drones, managed to strike grain and oil depots. Ukraine has accused Russia of severely damaging its grain export infrastructure. The missile strikes have been described as pure hell, hellish overnight missile strikes. Ukraine says in the past 48 hours, 2 of its Black Sea ports have suffered massive damage. Ukraine's southern military command insists that Russia is also using its supersonic missiles, including the 22. The KH-22 is described as a carrier killer missile. It's known to destroy even massive aircraft carriers at sea, and these missiles are being used to target Odessa's port infrastructure. I now want to quickly cut across to India Today's Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan for more on this story. Geeta, what more can you tell us about the intensity of the Russian missile strike and the damage caused?
Well, Gaurav, this is an absolute escalation when it comes to the ground situation. You and I have been reporting on the situation and on the war. There was a dip when it comes to direct attacks, but like we saw some time ago when Crimea was attacked by Ukraine, the onslaught of attacks by Russia was unabated for days. And this time around, the Ukrainians not only attacked Crimea, but attacked the critical bridge that connects Crimea to Russia. And all supplies to Crimea come through that, including basic supplies like water, which now has been stopped because of the damage and the blowing up of the Kherson, the dam in Kherson.
Geeta, stay with me for a moment. We are now being joined by Serhiy Mirankov, a journalist from Kyiv. Serhiy Mirankov, what can you tell us about these missile strikes in Odessa and the damage caused?
Good evening, dear viewers. I can say that Russia launched again a missile attack on Odessa, on Chernomorsk, on Nikolaev, on the of the seaports. A lot of people in Russia and in other countries decided that this was a hellish overnight attack on, like, an answer on the Crimea missile and the Crimea breach. But truly says it's a real, just describing the face of Russia, of Russian president, of Russian negotiations in the grain initiation. So that's what they're showing against the terrorist face. Only this. They're trying to make people scare them. They're showing their armed forces, whatever.
What more do we know of the damage caused? Do we have details of the impact of these missile strikes?
Damage are quite disaster, like a disaster. It destroyed the seaport infrastructures. There are some missiles on the civilian infrastructure. Around 10 people were injured. One of them was a kid. So it was in the downtown of Odessa, like the city, which are one of the beautifulest and well known in UNICEF initiative of the World Cities 2030, if I'm right.
Okay. Serhiy Mirankov for joining me from Kiev, Ukraine. Many thanks. Geeta Mohan for the moment. Many thanks for joining me. Keep tracking that story. I will come back to the two of you for more on this big story. I now want to shift focus to our top story, and that is this Pakistani woman who waltzed into India virtually unchecked, unhindered. Now, is this a PUBG love story? Is this a cross-border romance? Or is there more to Seema Haider and Sachin Meena's meeting? Was a sleeper cell being set up close to the national capital, in the national capital region, not far from the Hindon Air Base and the Jewar Airport? We bring you more in this report.
From the virtual battlefields of PUBG, from Karachi in Pakistan to Rabupura in Greater Noida, via Kathmandu in Nepal. 27-year-old Seema Haider's daring trek to marry her lover, 5 years younger, with her 4 children in tow. Now a subject of intense investigation.
दो राष्ट्रों के बीच जुड़ा हुआ है, इसमें जब तक पर्याप्त साक्ष्य नहीं मिल जाते कुछ भी कहना उचित नहीं। तो अगर हमारा बॉर्डर पोरस है और उसके लिए कोई पासपोर्ट की आवश्यकता नहीं है, तो इसलिए इस तरह की चीजें लेकिन एक पाकिस्तानी नागरिक नहीं, ये तो किसी के चेहरे पे तो कुछ लिखा नहीं।
Uttar Pradesh's Anti-Terror Squad questioned the Pakistani woman sneaking into India via Nepal for 9 hours on Tuesday. Multiple agencies involved in cross-examining her claims. The Karachi-based Haider allegedly met Sachin Meena of Greater Noida a couple of years ago. Already married in 2014, her husband, working in Saudi Arabia, she first met Meena in Nepal in March. Stayed with him in this hotel for a couple of days. Travelled to Nepal again in May. This time with her 4 children. She took a bus and crossed into India to reunite with her lover. Haider allegedly sold a property back in Karachi to fund her trip. But the investigating agencies aren't taking this story on its face value. Intriguing revelations tumble out of the ongoing probe. The Pakistani national holds not one but 2 passports. Number HZ0004421 and HZ0004422. Discrepancies found in her age and birth date. Pakistani authorities seem to have issued Seema Haider her national identity card in September 2022. These documents in general made available months after the birth. In her case, she got her Pakistani national identity less than a year ago. 2 passports in Pakistan. A bus from Pokhara to Uttar Pradesh to reach Greater Noida. Evading the keen eye of the Sashastra Seema Bal along the India-Nepal border. She carried all travel documents, but left one of the phones and a laptop she used in Pakistan behind. And when India Today spoke to her estranged husband, a laborer in Saudi Arabia, Ghulam Haider claimed Seema Haider's brother is a Pakistani border guard.
ये जो सीमा हैदर इसके भाई का नाम आसिफ है ना? तो आसिफ कहाँ है अभी? किसमें है? कहाँ काम करते हैं?
इधर ड्यूटी है इसका कोई रेंजर्स में है इधर कराची में।
क्या पाकिस्तान रेंजर्स में है? फौजी हैं? और इनके जो चाचा है सीमा के?
वो गुलाम अकबर, वो भी बड़े उधर में इस्लामाबाद में, पता नहीं लाहौर में।
कहाँ पे है?
इस्लामाबाद।
Seema Haider's speech, her language skills. A Pakistani woman from the Sindh province dressing up like a rural woman from India's Hindi heartland. Investigators are leaving nothing to chance. Agencies suspect that Pakistani handlers might have taken professional help to give Seema Haider a makeover in order for her to slip into India without detection. Seema Haider's purported affidavit from 2014 in India Today's possession, the woman in this document accused her parents of greed. She testified that she left her home to live with Ghulam Haider because her parents wanted to marry her off with someone else against her wishes. And now she has left Ghulam Haider for Sachin Meena in India. Out on bail, but not off the hook. Seema Haider, an unconventional lover, or a Pakistani spy out to set up base in Uttar Pradesh? Over to the investigating agencies to get to the bottom of her saga. With Arvind Ojha, Bureau Report, India Today.
But is this Seema Haider story actually adding up? There are so many gaps in the story. Let's try and make sense of the developments on this story. Joining me on India First is Yashovardhan Azad, former Special Director of the Intelligence Bureau. Former top cop Samar Srivastav is India Today's ace reporter, currently travelling to Pokhara in Nepal. Yashovardhan Azad, I want to understand from you, sir. A Pakistani woman comes into India. She has 2 passports, multiple mobile phones. Apparently, some data has been deleted from her mobile phone. She walks into India virtually unchecked, stays in India for a fortnight virtually unquestioned. Does this look like a regular cross-border love story to you, or is there merit in the contention that perhaps Pakistan was creating a sleeper cell in the national capital region?
For me, Gaurav, I think it's a pure case of a love story, and I admire the grit and the braveness of this woman to come across thousands of miles and meet her lover here. Of course, there are speculations that there's a possibility that she could be a spy. But then, sleeper cells, I mean, don't come from such high-profile personalities. I mean, I would understand if in a Pakistani High Commission somebody is posted as a very senior diplomat having a cover where they have contacts at very high level and get the information. But for a woman like this, I mean, do you think that she would come so well known and then act as a sleeper cell?
She became well known only because the lawyer alerted the police. She was living in our country for 15 days unchecked. The police and the intelligence agencies hadn't the foggiest idea that she'd crossed over from Nepal into India and was living in Greater Noida, sir.
Yes. The Nepal border is very, very porous. It's along so many hundreds of miles. And therefore, no matter how many checkposts you put up, there'll be infiltration from that side. And she utilized that and she came here. Mind you, their relationship had gone, their meeting points have been before also. And she came with a specific purpose. Now, if you feel that she's an agent, you have a very easy target. Do you think the intelligence mechanism, we don't have the infrastructure to pursue something like this? To make it an issue of a national importance, I think is a little going too far.
Sir, David Coleman Headley had an American passport. He came into India. He also waltzed around in our country unchecked. The consequences were disastrous. But Samar Srivastav, are there absolutely no checks on people crossing over from Nepal into India? And is there any corroborative evidence that she actually crossed over only on the 12th of May and not before? Any CCTV cameras, any information that buttresses her story?
See, Gaurav, there are a lot of evidences, but not on a whole of a CCTV footage, because that's what UP Police has sought a report from SSB, how that particular Seema Haider crossed the borders inside and came inside India via district of Uttar Pradesh. But the major concern is when we reached at the hotel where the duo was staying for around 7 days. Number one, the hotel did not ask for the ID, though the hotels claimed that they have been following this norm since years in Nepal, in Kathmandu, at one particular stretch where a lot of hotels are located. But number two, which is a major big thing, if it is an unconditional love story, then what was the need, what was the emergence of hiding the names, be it of Seema Haider or that particular person, Sachin? Why they hid their names? They were very formal. They were very informal with the hotel guys, with the receptionist. They were even playing with the kids of the receptionist Ganesh, but they did not tell the real name. What was the need? They even asked for the places to go and roam around in Nepal. They went to the temple, and when we visited the temple, another shocker came in. There was no record for the marriage of Seema Haider and Sachin in that particular Pashupati temple, and that has another board was also pasted outside the temple that only Hindus are allowed inside this particular temple. That clearly indicates if they had tied not inside that particular temple, they again, yet like hotel, hid their identity, and that's a bigger question. If that's a story of an unconditional love, what was the need of hiding the identity? Because it's not India is not a nation, or Nepal is not a nation where you see that in Hindus or Muslims can't get into a love marriage. It has nothing been a case. Then what was the need? Because you were already hiding your Pakistani status when you came via Nepal borders. And what was the need? And that is a bigger question which maybe agencies will ask.
Stay with me for a moment. Yashovardhan Azad, from Gujarat, the international border through Rajasthan, led through Punjab, through Jammu, the line of control, all the way 770 kilometers of the line of control, 110 kilometers of the Siachen Glacier, actual ground position line. You have lakhs of soldiers who are deployed to check infiltration of Pakistanis. So, on the other hand, when it comes to Nepal, you have nothing, it seems, there. Any Pakistani can fly into Nepal and then come into India. So what's the point? I mean, is there a major problem? We have a fortress in front, nothing to protect the rear.
Well, Nepal border has been very, very porous, and there have been many entries like this even before. But in this particular case, we should not get into a kind of a McCarthyism which was going on in the United States of America, that under every court there is a spy. We are obsessed with Pakistan. Suppose this woman is a spy. Is it difficult for our security agencies to keep a look and find out if anything happens? I think we are giving too much importance on Pakistan and on these very, very little things. And
Sir,
mind you, even
our intelligence agencies were unable to find out about David Coleman Headley, and the country paid a massive price for it. So, we may want to brush everything under the carpet. David Coleman Headley came with with an American passport. He was a Pakistani. He made friends with top Bollywood stars. He wined and dined in South Mumbai. We saw the consequences. But I will leave it at that. I want to understand from you, Samarth, have the police been able to verify who all was Seema trying to be in touch with? This Seema Haider, apparently there are reports she had sent friend requests on social media platform to some army jawans and some others in the Delhi NCR region. Any verification of this information?
See, Gaurav, there are two theories. What we got from sources, there are a lot of stories about Seema Haider, which clearly indicates that she's not a normal person. She's not a normal woman who came from Pakistan for an unconditional love to get Sachin. So that's the big thing what we got from the police sources, that she sent friend requests to majorly the Indian army persons. That's a bigger question. Why only army persons? Is there any plot behind this particular scene by entering inside India? And there were also claims being made by her husband later on that he wanted to watch the World Cup in India. Earlier it was made, but what the UP police came to the conclusion today, a press note was released in quite a pointers form. It was written that she has in the investigation so far, nothing has come yet in which it could be said that she is a Pakistani spy. But what could you take a risk of allowing anybody from Pakistan entering the borders via Nepal and living a life in India? How can you trust that particular woman? That's a bigger question for the agencies. And because we have seen a sleeper cell story before, and few days back also, 2 ISI agents were arrested from Gonda district of Uttar Pradesh. Then how, and at one time, and if you see that particular mandal, what we call, that is the Indo-Nepal border, that also connects Ayodhya in a way, and in Ayodhya, Ram temple is being built, and from the intelligence sources, it has been on the radar of terrorists from years before the construction work began. And in 2024, Prime Minister will be, in a way, inaugurating that particular temple, and seeing all these things, seeing all these points together, what could be the planning? That could be a massive plot. But what we have got to know from the police sources or in the police press note, so far they have clarified that nothing to do with the spy thing when it comes to Seema Haider.
Sure.
We have to see
whether she's a spy or not, we do not know.
On the ground, and
was it a sleeper cell? We still do not know. But is it normal for Pakistani citizens to waltz into India unchecked, live in India unchallenged? And thank God for that lawyer, Mr. Azad. It's that lawyer who alerted the police. Otherwise, the police wouldn't even have come to know. The local intelligence unit in Greater Noida wouldn't have known that a Pakistani citizen was dressed up like a Hindu living in a colony for 15 days and counting.
Gaurav, beyond the life of a cop or an intelligence agent, there is humanity, there is love. It still exists. And for a sleeper cell to announce herself so well.
Sir, she did not announce herself, sir.
No.
She was caught courtesy that lawyer.
Oh, I know. Well, I know. But she was found, and when they changed the names, which is very, very natural, I think we are obsessing ourselves. It's nothing which cannot be looked into by the security agencies. Headley was a high-profile agent. He was having high-level contacts. If you have somebody in the embassy like that, that's a different thing. But for somebody like Seema, Indian security agencies keep a very good check and is the easiest target. So
fair
I
enough.
would say,
I appreciate your confidence, sir, but we've burnt our fingers more than once. We've lost precious lives in our country. Accountability is something that we all insist on. We haven't seen it post 26/11. Let's hope we see accountability in this case, but we'll be tracking that story very, very closely. Mr. Yashovardhan Azad and Samar Srivastava for joining me here on this India First special. Gentlemen, many thanks. A quick break. Abha Bakaya up next with Business Today. Stay with us.
Standing on the ring road, you can see there's only water, water and water everywhere.
What could have been done to provide proper facilities to the people who have been affected by the Yamuna flood?
How long will it take for normalcy to return to Delhi?
The national capital now finding itself virtually submerged in water.
Grounded in journalism, on the ground reporting, in the water reporting, only on India Today TV.
India's digital public infrastructure, which is also the UPI that they call the Unified Payment Interface, and also CBDC, which is the central bank's digital currency. Do you see South Africa collaborating with India on this in the future? Singapore, Indonesia?
Part of the discussion in the BRICS is that payment system. So South Africa will definitely be collaborating with India through that, but I think we've got to move beyond that, go at a bilateral level.
What have been the key outcomes of the discussion so far?
I think the broad discussions around of partner interest to developing nations' debt restructuring are progressing very well. We've got, in terms of a common framework, we've done Zambia now, we're waiting for an MOU. We expect an appointment of another creditors team to look at Ghana, which is quite an important development for us. The second issue is the evolution of the Multinational Development Bank and the banks to structure them in such a manner that they can take the development challenges facing our nations in the 21st.
Gaming. That is what took the center stage at the launch of the new iQOO Neo 7 Pro 5G smartphone. Let's deep dive into this gaming smartphone and see what's in store for the gamers. First things first, it is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor from last year. Now, it may be last year's chip, but it benchmarked really well on all the phones. Now the iQOO Neo 7 Pro 5G also has an independent gaming chip, which in conjunction with the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 is amazing for the gaming capabilities. With this powerful combination, I tried 3 games: Genshin Impact, New State, as well as Asphalt 9. Now all 3 games played pretty well. There were a few drop rates in Genshin Impact, but that's a pretty heavy game. So let's see how these games look on this device. With this powerful combination, I managed to achieve a consistent 90 frames per second on the new PUBG game at ultra graphics setting. Although the coveted 120 frames per second mark remained elusive, the iQOO Neo 7 Pro's cooling system played its part in maintaining stable thermals during extended gaming session. And here you can see Asphalt 9 racing game running without any hiccups. Also present is a dual speaker setup, which immerses you in any game or media consumption. And the 120 Hz refresh rate keeps everything super snappy. Battery life, that's the next question that comes to mind when playing these heavy intensive games. And this phone comes with 5000 mAh battery, but it's the charging speed that might blow your socks off. Now I'll just take a quick coffee break, and until then my phone is charging with the 120 watt charger that will charge my phone 50% in just 8 minutes. Let's see what happens. Now that I'm done with my coffee break, my phone is all charged up thanks to the 120-watt fast charger. Serious gaming enthusiasts in the same price range can look out for the Xbox Series S, which is a dedicated gaming console. Hence, you would have a great pro gaming experience. Similarly, in smartphones, the Realme GT2 Pro and OnePlus 11R could be an alternative in the same price range. Wrapping it up, the iQOO Neo 7 Pro is for all you gaming enthusiasts who are looking for a gaming phone but do not want to break the bank. This phone comes in at sub 40,000 rupees. Stay tuned to Tech Today for more such technology updates.
Hello and welcome. You're with us here in Business Today. I'm Abha Bakaya. Here are the day's top stories. Sensex and Nifty closed at fresh record highs, extend their winning streak into the 5th consecutive session. Reliance share price hits new 52-week high of 2,853 rupees ahead of the Jio Financial Services demerger. Record date tomorrow. All eyes on the special pre-open session for price discovery of Reliance post the merger. World Bank President Ajay Banga says India's strong domestic consumption will help it stay ahead of the global slowdown. Says Indian economy has come out resilient post-COVID-19. All new tourist vehicles as well as cabs and motorbikes provided on rent in Goa will have to be electric from January 2024, Chief Minister Pramod Sawant announced today. All eyes on India's most valuable company, Reliance's demerger of Jio Financial Services, the record date for which is tomorrow. The NSE will also hold a special pre-trade session tomorrow for the purpose of price discovery of Reliance shares. My colleague Shailendra Bhatnagar spoke with Gaurang Shah of Jio Financial Services to find out what this would mean for RIL shareholders.
Reliance Industries is a stock that you must definitely talk to us about, especially because tomorrow the demerged entity will also get included in the index. If you could help our viewers really understand what does this really mean for the RIL shareholders, how will the pre-opening action impact the shareholders really?
So book value is about 200 rupees. Sakshi, correct me if I'm wrong, for Jio Financials. Today is the last day for all those investors who want to be a part of that. We always believed, Sakshi, that whether you hive off a business and list it as a separate entity, or whether you have a consolidated balance sheet, Reliance Industries will always create value. Now, this is the first of the lot. The market has been a buzz, or rumors have been around in the market about hiving off Jio Mobility as well, digital and retail business slowly, steadily. So, it was, it is, and it will create value, whether it is a single entity or different entities. So choice is yours, but we've been always positive. Our targets are close to 3,000. This was depending on the last quarter numbers that we saw. And I think that time the stock was languishing around 2350. And now it has, rallied on fallback of this news. So whether one or one too many, it will create value.
So let's just break this for our viewers into a sensible kind of a setup. So a couple of things have happened over the last 1 week or so. We've seen a very, very sharp rally on Reliance Industries, which is India's most valuable company. It's added about 10% since the past 4 or 5 sessions. And that's because of a major corporate development that is due tomorrow. The financial services arm of the Reliance Group, Jio Financials, will be spun out of Reliance Industries on Thursday. And the record date to determine who all is eligible to get these shares is July 20th, which is again tomorrow. Remember, we are also looking at Reliance's earnings on Friday. So the breakup will be in the ratio of 1:1, and a price discovery will happen tomorrow in a special session. Now, what is likely to happen is that the close of Reliance on Wednesday, which is today, and the open of Reliance on Thursday, which is tomorrow morning, the difference will determine the price of Geo Financials. And that will be listed for a couple of days on the Nifty and other indices. And after that, it will follow a T+3 settlement cycle. So that's how the price discovery is going to happen. And that's the reason why we've seen a very, very sharp rally in Reliance over the last 5 or 7 trading sessions. In fact, it's the world's 42nd most valuable company. And it's closed yesterday at a record high. It's added to gains today. And that's the traction that is coming in. It's the only company in India which is more than $200 billion in terms of market capitalization. In fact, somewhere like $233 billion. Now let's get Gaurang back into the conversation and try to find out what are his views on Reliance Industries and Geo Financial.
In terms of the listing price for Geo Financials could be anywhere between 160 to 180 or 185. And that will then post, it will depend upon the supply and demand scenario. But, in terms of the opportunities for Geo Financials, I think it's going to be huge. And let me say this, that already Reliance Industries has got a very well established, strong network to reach out to people. And I think that advantage will definitely be taken by Geo Financials.
The Sensex and Nifty today at record closing highs, led by financials. Broader markets outperforming in the session. Mid-cap index closing at a record high as well. Reliance Industries inching near its all-time high ahead of that demerger. The Sensex was up over 300 points at 67,097, while the Nifty was up 84 points at 19,833. About 1,961 shares advanced, 1,360 shares declined, and 119 shares unchanged. All sectors ended in the green, with PSU Bank up 2%, while power, healthcare and oil and gas up 0.5% each. The biggest gainers on the Nifty included NTPC, Bajaj Finance, IndusInd Bank, Ultratech Cement and Bajaj Finserv. While losers were Hindalco Industries, Bajaj Auto, Hero Motocorp, TCS and Maruti Suzuki.
Well, the markets have run up quite sharply in a short period of time. I wanted to get your sense over here with the kind of move that we've already seen in the last 3 months odd. Do you expect the rally to continue, or do you think that it is time to get cautious and one should brace for correction?
So definitely we have seen a very good rally during the last 3 months, and it has been across the board. We have seen stocks have appreciated, but from here on what I believe is that it will be a sector-specific or stock-specific movement which will take place over the next 6 to 12 months. So as we have seen, the June quarter numbers have started to come in, and banks and IT companies have delivered a far better than expected number. So what we believe is that going forward, some sectors like bank, IT, within IT, one can look at mid-cap or companies which are delivering a healthy number like LTTS, TCS, Infosys. Those numbers, those companies can be looked at. Within bank, what I feel is that if you look at the numbers of HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank, everyone has delivered a solid set of numbers, as well as outlook is very promising for financial year 24. So in banking, what we can see is that the cost of fund is likely to peak out in the second quarter, and that will add to the incremental margin for the second half of FY24. And then coming to FY25, we may see cost-to-income ratio going down. So overall outlook is very positive for a banking sector. Coming to the PSU Bank, I feel that there is one more round of re-rating we may see in PSU Bank. So FY23 was the year where we have seen one leg of re-rating across the board in the PSU Bank. But for FY24, banks, larger size PSU Bank like Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, for that matter, Bank of Maharashtra, where the asset quality are very good, outlook is promising. Those are the opportunities where we see money can or wealth can be created.
Okay. Mr. Agrawal, also any major downside risks you see for the markets in the latter part of 2023?
If you talk about the valuation, I believe the consensus price EPS for the Nifty 50 for FY25 is around 1,000 rupees. So for on FY25 right now, we are trading at almost 20x price to earning multiple. So still we are not in that very exuberance kind of mode in the market. It's slightly trading at premium to the fair value band of 16 to 17x. But having said that, what I believe is that again, one should stop looking at Nifty and Sensex as a level there, because there are many small pockets where a lot of stories getting played out. For example, recently, a lot of orders were doled out for the smart meter industry, right? So companies like Genius Power, Tata Power. So at the same time, we are seeing a lot of good order wins for cap goods companies, or for that matter, defense companies, or for that matter, railways. So there are some micro pockets where there is still a money-making opportunity which is available. If I talk about the indices, Nifty, Sensex, what I believe is that over the next 6 to 12 months, we may see levels of 21,000, 22,000 over the next 6 to 12 months. Again, we have to keep in mind that the market right now is driven by fund flow rather than valuation. So FII, which were the seller for continuously since last 2 years now, they have started lapping up the shares since last 2-3 months. And it's a long way to go for them to accumulate the entire shareholding which they have lost during the last 8 to 10 years. So I believe it's more of a fund flow driven market rather than any valuation or technicals which are working as of now. So party is on. I mean, I think everyone should enjoy the party till the time fund flows are pretty strong in the market.
After the first quarter results, major Indian IT players have spoken about getting employees back to office. TCS and HCL Tech said that over 50% of their staff in office for at least 3 days a week now. In fact, TCS is incentivizing employees to come back to office by linking it to their quarterly appraisal cycle. It seems like trouble for Indian startups keeps brewing amid the intensifying funding winter and valuation cutbacks. Reliance and Google-backed quick commerce company Dunzo has deferred a part of the salary for over 50% of its staff for around 2 months now, citing severe cash crunch. Business Today's Akanksha Chaturvedi brings us more details.
Dunzo has skipped payday and has deferred salary of around half of its staff for 2 months now. Our sources at the company said that the quick commerce startup has capped the salary of employees at around 75,000, citing extreme cash crunch issues. Other sources also allege that Dunzo has rescinded job offers of new recruits. The company did not respond to Business Today's queries. It is worth noting that Dunzo is backed by Reliance Retail and Google. Other investors include Lightrock, Lightbox, Bloom Ventures and others. Reliance is the largest shareholder with a 25.8% stake in the company, and Google is the second largest stakeholder with around 19% ownership. This is how the company has reached this level where it's not even able to pay the salary of employees. It's because they've switched the model, their business model. First, they were sourcing all their products from dark stores, but now they are switching to a marketplace model. There's some gap here, which is the reason that the company is not able to fulfill its demands right now.
Thanks, Akanksha. Now, the OTT industry in India is growing even bigger now, as a report by PwC India says. The report says that the industry would clock a revenue of $3.5 billion by 2027. It bets on evolving consumer preferences, increased internet access and emerging technologies that are fast reshaping the industry, and also indicates that OTT revenues have already surged in India over 6 times from 2018 to reach $1.8 billion in 2022. We take a quick break. When we return, lots more coming up.
Let's do this. Welcome to Threads. That was the first post from Mark Zuckerberg as he launched his new rival to Twitter. Within hours, 10 million people had signed up. Those quick to join included celebrities like Kim Kardashian and Jennifer Lopez. Brands like HBO and Netflix also launched accounts within minutes. Threads looks pretty familiar. It's built around text posts of up to 500 characters, while users can also post pictures and videos up to 5 minutes long. It's all meant to take advantage of the chaos at Twitter since it was taken over by Elon Musk. And it has one big advantage. People can sign in with their existing username from Instagram, also owned by Meta. Since Instagram claims to have over 2 billion users, that could enable Threads to gain serious scale very quickly. It also benefits from Instagram's advertising system, meaning it could draw dollars away from its rival. Threads is available in Apple's App Store and Google's Play Store. Some new users were quick to predict Twitter's demise, but Zuckerberg advised caution. He said this was just the opening moment of the first round. But the fight is definitely on.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Welcome back. World Bank President Ajay Banga today met with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in New Delhi. Emerging from the meeting, he spoke about the world economy and the growth path for India. Listen in.
Your specific question about India's growth in the higher income jobs, where are those jobs? They're in technology, where you get few, you don't get a lot. They're in manufacturing, where I think India's opportunity currently is to cash in on the China Plus One opportunity. This opportunity won't stay open for 10 years. This is a 3 to 5 year opportunity when the supply chains start relocating, or let's say not relocating but adding on in another location. That's going to need work, and it is one of the topics that I'm going to be discussing with people in the government today.
The third meeting of G20 finance ministers and central bank governors in Gujarat's Gandhinagar ended, but without a consensus on the communique due to differences over the Russia-Ukraine conflict. However, the meeting managed to make good progress on other fronts. BTTV's Karishma Sudani was at Gandhinagar to cover the meeting. Karishma, take us through, what did the meeting really achieve? What are the kind of insights we were able to derive?
The finance ministers and central bank governors meeting that concluded yesterday in Gandhinagar, which was the third meeting as a part of India's G20 presidency, was not able to come out with a communique because of the pending consensus on Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday said that while this is a chair summary, the efforts will be on to come up with a consensus and communique until the state leaders summit that will be in September in New Delhi on the 9th and 10th. But a series of issues pertaining to multilateral development banks, cryptocurrencies, debt vulnerabilities and digital payment and financing were discussed successfully, of which a chair summary has also been released. Now it's the efforts of the government to try and discuss further at their upcoming meetings under the finance track, and of course continue it on their fourth finance ministers and central governors, bank governors meeting that will be in Marrakesh after the state leaders summit in October.
Thanks, Karishma. All new tourist vehicles as well as cabs and motorbikes provided on rent in Goa will have to be electric from January 2024. That's according to Chief Minister Pramod Sawant as part of the state's major reforms to promote EV adoption. The Goa government also plans to retrofit 30% of the fleet for permit holders to EVs by June 2024. Listen in.
Related to the RE renewable energy and Restore for the green, we have already announced for the green Goa. We are announcing the various development. At present, all the tourist vehicles will be go green by January 2024. Or the Restore vehicles, at least the 30% of the vehicle convert into the green, at least by the June 2024.
The world's largest office building is soon going to open in our country. The gem capital of India, Surat in Gujarat, now has a remarkable building to house the mammoth diamond polishing industry. The recently constructed Surat Diamond Bourse in the city is billed as one-stop destination for more than 65,000 diamond professionals. With over 7.1 million square feet of floor space, it's believed to surpass the Pentagon as the world's largest office building. Prime Minister Modi tweeted that it showcases dynamism of Surat's diamond industry. The past few months have been tough for the Indian edtech sector, with major players facing a severe cash crunch, profitability crisis, cutbacks in valuations and scrutiny from investors and regulators alike. Bucking this trend is PhysicsWallah, backed by Westbridge Capital. Business Today TV's Akanksha Chaturvedi caught up with the unicorn founders, Alok Pandey and Prateek Maheshwari, to understand what's worked for them. Listen in.
I think, how does this work? Finding a right teacher for that particular segment, finding a right business guy for that particular segment, and इन दोनों को हमेशा ये चीज़ अलाइन करना कि सुनता हमेशा बच्चे की रहना, बाकी बच्चा खुद ड्राइव करके बना देता है चीज़ें, वो बताता जाता है क्या करो क्या करो क्या करो क्या करो.
Okay, so you're telling me the secret sauce of building a successful edtech is right teacher, right business person, and then it's all driven by students.
Listening to students is the only secret sauce.
Okay.
Listen to them.
Okay, sir. And sir, do you think it applies well in the that's the reason that it has, you know, reflected in all your businesses succeeding so well?
Right, like, you know, see, especially for edtech businesses, you have to have a very good balance between academics and business. And academics will always overpower business. And academic has to be designed with the needs of students. What are the fundamental needs of the students? You need to understand that. Like, you know, see, fundamentally, what we are preparing for them, like, you know, for a competitive exam. So your delivery has to be crisp, your content has to be concise, your syllabus should be at par with the examinations. So, and like, you know, and the business machinery should be aligned with the academic machinery. So that's what we have derived in PW, so that we have scaled so fast in so many exam categories with such a high NPS. It's very rare to have this combination, because we have a student first approach. That's why we could able to do that.
Okay. And sir, compared to other edtechs in India, do you think, apart from this student first and a good teacher business, this alignment, do you think the cash burn that they had in marketing, is that also something that has worked out for you? Because I don't think you ever had to market your product. There's a lot of word of mouth. Everybody knows PhysicsWallah from their work. Do you think that has also worked out for you?
So, like, you know, fundamentally, our core philosophy is not cash burn. Our core philosophy is community. Like, you know, so we believe in building great communities over YouTube, over Instagram, like over other social media platforms. Like, you know, so and that's what we have. Like, you know, the entire edtech have learned from Alok. Like, you know, from 2016 to 20, he was teaching on YouTube for free. The entire content was designed in such a sequential manner, and the entire content he was putting out on YouTube for free, and he had built a great captive audience in 2020. So the brand was built and the business was built later. The same philosophy we have applied in the other exam categories, be it UPSC, SSC, banking, CET, MBA, CACS, you know, so there we as a company build communities over YouTube, and we try to monetize those communities through paid courses. So fundamentally, we don't have any customer acquisition metric in our company. So we build communities and we track the healthiness of those communities.
Okay.
कैश बर्न भी गलत नहीं है, मैं तो ऐसा भी मानता हूँ. अगर बाकी एडटेक ने कैश बर्न किया तो ये गलत नहीं था. कैश बर्न करके जो बच्चा आया उसको प्रोडक्ट क्या दिया, वहाँ प्रॉब्लम है.
राइट.
ओके.
कैश बर्न जैसे आप एक हिस्ट्री की किताब है ना, तो जब आप पढ़ते हो तो आप लास्ट में समरी याद रखते हो कि अकबर इस दिन पैदा हुए थे, ये हुआ था, ये बैटल इस दिन हुई थी, तो आप तभी छोटी चीज़ें नहीं याद रखते हो. तो कैश बर्न हो गया, क्या खाई हो गया, ये सारी चीज़ें लोग भूल जाएंगे लॉन्ग टर्म में. लॉन्ग टर्म में अगर कैश बर्न करने के बाद अपने बच्चे को सही प्रोडक्ट दिया था, सही डिलीवरी दी थी, तो चीज़ें सही हैं. 3-4 साल में प्रॉफिटेबल हो जाएंगे वो एडटेक भी, अगर वहाँ पे लॉस चल रहे हैं तो.
याद रखा जाएगा बस बच्चे का रिजल्ट, कि आपने कितनी मेहनत करी, बच्चे का रिजल्ट क्या आया. लेकिन तो मेरे ख्याल से कैश बर्न में प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी. प्रॉब्लम वाज विद देयर पेडागॉजी, देयर डिलीवरी, देयर प्रोडक्ट के साथ में.
Let's take a look at what else is making news in the corporate world. Bikaji Foods International has acquired 49% stake in Bhujia Lalji Private Limited, a new entrant in the ethnic snacks industry with a deal size over 5 crore rupees. The acquisition comes at a time when India's organized snacks business is currently valued at 4,240 billion rupees. It's grown significantly in the last 5 years on account of changing lifestyles, rising incomes and urbanization. Meanwhile, the shares of Bikaji Foods surged 7% on news of the acquisition, hitting an all-time high of 468 rupees. Tata Group announced plans to establish a global 40-gigawatt battery cell gigafactory in the United Kingdom. This will be the group's first gigafactory outside of India. Apart from delivering a major boost for a car industry, the plant will also help create up to 4,000 jobs. The factory will supply JLR's future battery electric models, including Discovery, Defender, Range Rover and Jaguar brands. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak hailed it as an incredibly proud moment for the country's automotive industry. The Indian government may delay plans to sell part of its stake in Hindustan Zinc until there is a turnaround in the industry's fortunes, as per news reports. The government plans to sell its 29% stake in tranches, starting with the sale of about 5% stake. Public sector lender Bank of Maharashtra reported a 95% jump in net profit at 882 crore rupees for the April to June quarter this year. The net interest income of the bank stood at 2,340 crores, while the bank's NPA was down over 2% from 3.7% recorded in the same quarter last year. On deposits front, the bank recorded a 25% growth, taking the total deposit over 2 lakh crore rupees. That's where we leave it on the show tonight. Thanks for watching.
When Seema Haider reached India, she declared that she had married Sachin in Nepal itself, and that she had accepted Hinduism. In India, Seema Haider was seen practicing all rituals of a Hindu married woman, even puja and bhajans. A Muslim woman from Pakistan leaving her husband, living in India and adopting Hinduism. For the radical Muslims of Pakistan, this was no less than a crime. And so the frustrated fundamentalists started threatening the Hindu community in Pakistan. Make no mistake, this was no empty threat. The rocket launchers that were used by Pakistani terrorists are now being used on Hindu temples. However, Pakistan is claiming that the attack on Hindu temple was the handiwork of local dacoits. Reports suggest a gang of dacoits attacked a temple in Pakistan's southern Sindh province. The attack was carried out in the Kashmir area, where rocket launchers were fired at Hindu temples and houses. Fortunately, the temple was closed. It is maintained by the Bagdi community and is opened only once a year. Kashmir police says 8 to 9 people were involved in the attack. Pakistan police also suspect that this attack may be linked to Seema Haider's PUBG love story, as fundamentalists had threatened the Hindu community. A similar attack took place a few days ago when bulldozers demolished a Hindu shrine. This is not the first time Hindus have been under attack in Pakistan, in the Sindh province especially. Hindus are systematically persecuted and forcibly converted. Bureau Report, India Today.
You are watching India Today.
Hello, you're watching India Today and I am Aishwarya Paliwal. Let's start the show with the headlines.
India, the name for the opposition alliance, has now sparked a controversy. The BJP leader from MP has now approached the Election Commission. Nitish Kumar denies he was against the alliance name. The left and the TMC are at loggerheads in the state of West Bengal. A day before the Parliament monsoon session, Centre says it is ready to debate on Manipur. The opposition wants the Prime Minister to break his silence first. Ten BJP MLAs suspended and marshalled out of the Karnataka Assembly amid protest against the Congress deploying IAS officers at the opposition meeting. Former Chief Minister of the state, Baswaraj Bommai, has been detained. Bengaluru terror model busted. 5 suspected terrorists have been arrested for plotting blasts across the city. Bomb-making material and weapons have been recovered. Monsoon woes now rocking the state of Gujarat. Torrential rains are leading to severe waterlogging in several districts like Surat and Gir Somnath. NDRF personnel are now on the standby. Now, just 24 hours ago, 26 opposition parties came together. But now, differences are emerging in this opposition grand alliance, which is now called India. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has now come out and said he does not have any personal ambition. And there are reports saying that he is not happy with the name India and was also extremely upset about not being named the convener of this opposition alliance. On the other side are CPM and TMC, which are rivals in the state of West Bengal. And both these parties are now lashing out at each other. Watch this story.
The Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, or India, an acronym for the opposition that resembles the country's name, was apparently the brainchild of Rahul Gandhi, picked up by Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee.
The fight is a fight to defend the idea of India. And that is why we came up with the name Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, which also happens to stand for India.
इंडिया जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा. भारत जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा.
But were all leaders of India happy with the name? The absence of Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, RJD leaders Lalu Yadav and Tejaswi Yadav at the press meet where the name was announced has set the tongues wagging.
एक तो उनको वो सम्मान नहीं मिला वहाँ बैठक में, उनको वो महत्व नहीं मिला. जो वहाँ पोस्टर बैनर लगे थे उसमें कहीं नीतीश कुमार का नामो निशान नहीं था, लालू यादव का कहीं नामो निशान नहीं था. उल्टे खिलाफ में ही कुछ पोस्टर ज़्यादा लगे हुए थे. तो इन्हीं सब कारणों से कहीं न कहीं नाराज होकर वो निकल आए.
Nitish Kumar on Wednesday denied reports of any divide.
बहुत अच्छा हो गया है और बहुत सर्वसम्मति से हुआ है और ठीक ढंग से हुआ है, तब इसलिए कोई दिक्कत नहीं. हमने जो सुझाव दे ही दिया है, बाकी सब चीज के लिए एकजुट करने के चक्कर में मेरा और कुछ नहीं. ये देश के हित में काम होना चाहिए. मेरा कोई पर्सनल चॉइस नहीं.
The India alliance has sparked furious reactions from the BJP. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma changed his Twitter bio from India to Bharat, claiming India was the creation of the colonial era.
भारत और इंडिया की लड़ाई है. इंडिया का अंग्रेज के गुलामी का परंपरा को लेकर चल रहे हैं, वो इंडिया के साथ है. और स्वतंत्र भारत स्वाभिमान के साथ दुनिया के सामने डंका पीट रहा है, उसके साथ जो है वो इंडिया के साथ.
The opposition's choice of name has sparked a debate on the internet and on the streets.
ये सब एक साथ आए हैं. पहली बार ऐसा हुआ कि ये लोग एक साथ आके बैठ के जो है कुछ अगेंस्ट द प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट करना चाहते हैं, तो डेफिनेटली फर्क पड़ेगा इसमें.
It is basically not to criticize that name, brand name. That is what they want to have this name.
It will need a lot more to become effective as an opposition, and if it can do that, then brand India will have a huge success.
India has one more big issue to settle: leadership. With Mallikarjun Kharge telling opposition leaders the Congress is not hankering for the PM's post, TMC leaders are pitching Mamata Banerjee's name for the top job. The suggestion was promptly rejected by the left.
আমরা চাইবই তো আমাদের নেত্রী আমাদের সিএম একজন বাঙালি যে হয়নি কখনো তো আমরা তো চাইবো সেটা মানে পরের স্টেপ অন্য কথা কিন্তু চাওয়ার জায়গায় স্বপ্ন দেখাতে অসুবিধা নেই
और टीएमसी की तानाशाही रुख जो बंगाल में दिखाई दिया है पूरे पंचायत के चुनाव में जनवाद के ऊपर हमले करके आप जनवाद की रक्षक के नाम पर खड़े होंगे उसकी बहुत कम क्रेडिबिलिटी है
Does India work as a name for an electoral alliance? While no one has the answer to that, it is evident the opposition alliance India has many divisions in its ranks. And it will be a bumpy road ahead for them. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, the Bengaluru police averted a major terror plot after they arrested 5 suspected terrorists. The police confiscated explosives and also mobile phones. At the moment, it's been suspected that those who have been arrested were planning a bigger blast than the ones that the country saw in the year 2008. Take a look at this special story.
A big terror plot foiled. 5 suspects arrested. Mobile phones, pistols and ammunition recovered. The Bengaluru police claim to have thwarted multiple blasts targeted at India's IT city. The 5 in custody, Suhail, Omar, Zahid, Mudassir and Faisal are all from Bengaluru and aged between 25 and 35. They were previously accused in a murder case in 2017 and were in jail for 18 months. From mobile phones to guns, police are claiming major recoveries from the suspects. A hunt is on for a 6th suspect identified as Junaid.
We have arrested 5 accused in this connection. The preliminary information or the interrogation of these 5 accused who have been secured indicates that all these 5 persons along with another person who is absconding and who is likely to be abroad now, they were involved in a murder case of 2017 in Bangalore City RT Nagar police station.
According to the police, the terror suspects were planning to target the Bengaluru public transport. The police allege the mastermind behind the plot is Lashkar-e-Taiba operative T. Nasir, a terror accused who is currently lodged in the Bengaluru Central Jail.
When they were inside jail, under trial prisoners regarding this case, they came in contact with T. Nazir, one of the main accused in 2008 Syrian blast case, and T. Nazir, it is seems to have radicalized these individuals for the purpose of carrying out certain subversive activities in Bangalore city.
Slamming the law and order situation in Karnataka, former Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has demanded the case be handed over to the NIA.
The general law and order situation in Bangalore in the state and regarding crime, control of crime, this government has really utterly failed.
As of now, we have an efficient policing system here. We have mechanisms to deal with terrorism here. We'll do that. Why is BJP always in a hurry? They don't trust the same very officers that they had a month back.
It remains to be seen if the NIA, the Central Agency for Terror Investigations, will be roped in to probe the Bengaluru probe. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, Seema Haider at the moment is under investigation. The Uttar Pradesh Anti-Terrorism Squad is now trying to find out about Seema's Pakistani links. At the moment, it's been confirmed that her brother and her uncle are indeed with the Pakistani army. Sources have told India Today Seema also has been sending a lot of friend requests to Indian army soldiers. But the big question is, why would she do so? Take a look at the latest saga.
Love crossing the barriers of nationality. A story of cross-border romance set in the reels of cinema.
मेरा नाम सीमा सचिन है. सीमा ठाकुर भी कह सकते हो और ठकरायन भी कह सकते हो.
But Seema Haider's real-life tale blurs the lines between love and suspicion. The Pakistani citizens' illicit crossing of borders has triggered a full-scale investigation by Indian authorities. Agencies suspect that there may be more to her story than meets the eye. A deeper inspection of her activities, both offline and online, underway. Official sources tell India Today that UP's Anti-Terror Squad has closely investigated Seema Haider's social media accounts. Turns out most of the people associated with them live in the National Capital Region. According to their sources, Seema Haider also sent friend requests to some soldiers of the Indian Army. Police now are looking for the motive. On her part, Haider claimed someone may have created a fake profile in her name.
नहीं सर, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। जब सच्चाई सामने आएगी तो फिर ही आप बात करेंगे। ऐसा कुछ है नहीं, क्योंकि अपनी बेटियों के साथ हूँ, मेरी मासूम बेटियां हैं, मेरा बेटा है। ऐसा होता तो मैं अकेली ही आती, शायद पहली बार में जब आई तभी आती। अगर यहाँ ऐसा होता तो मैं खुद चल के वकील के पास नहीं जाती।
Central agencies suspect Seema Haider's infiltration into India could have been facilitated by a third party. A Pakistani Muslim, she could have been trained in Hindu customs, attire, and the Hindi language as spoken in the hinterlands of Uttar Pradesh.
जैसे यहाँ औरतें पति के लिए अपनी मांग भरे रखती हैं, तो I love that, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता था ये सब.
A trademark practice adopted by Pakistan's rogue spy agencies to send its female operatives into India via Nepal. Central agencies haven't yet been able to confirm Seema Haider's claims that she entered India on May 13th. No evidence yet found about the presence of a third country citizen that day along the key border points between India and Nepal. Her brother Asif being a Pakistani ranger, and uncle serving in the Pakistani army have also raised eyebrows. No evidence yet of her claims either that she sold a house to fund her India trip.
अभी भी ऐसा ही बोला, भाई हम जा रहे हैं गाँव, 3-4 दिन हमारे सामान का ख्याल रखो, फिर हम वापस आ जाएंगे। गई तो फिर वापस नहीं आई, जीपीएस का कोई राब्ता हो गया, फिर ऐसे इधर चली गई तो हमने नेट से सुना तो इंडिया पहुंच गई है।
Love and suspicion intertwined. A case still shrouded in mystery. With Jitendra Bahadur Singh and Arvind Ojha, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, Seema Haider travelled from Pakistan to Dubai and then to Nepal before she illegally entered India. In Nepal, in fact, she also stayed in a hotel with Sachin Meena. Now, this is the place where the two allegedly got married. India Today has now investigated Seema's trail in Nepal. Watch what we found.
They met on gaming app PUBG and got married in Nepal. The curious case of Seema Haider has the country in a spell. The Pakistani woman who married a 22-year-old Indian kirana shop helper Sachin Meena from Greater Noida stayed at this hotel in Kathmandu, from where they churned out one Insta reel after the other of their wedding. India Today reached Hotel New Vinayak, where Seema and Sachin's saga began. Seema, who entered India illegally in May, stayed in room number 204 with Sachin for 7 days.
ये वो कमरा है, कमरा नंबर 204,
जिसको लेकर तमाम खबरें आई, तमाम बातें हुई, पूछताछ में भी बताया गया। और यहीं पर कई सारे रील्स भी बनाए हैं, जिसमें 1-2 रील्स में आपको दिखेगा सचिन सिंदूर लगा रहे हैं। और सीमा जो पाकिस्तानी महिला है, जिस पर शक है लोगों को कहीं वो ISI एजेंट तो नहीं है, वो कितना आम तरीके से बिहेव कर रही थी आम लोगों के साथ, फिर वो चाहे होटल रिसेप्शनिस्ट हों, मैनेजर्स हों, और फिर चाहे इस कमरे में ज़्यादा समय बिताना हो, या फिर नेपाल के पब्स और क्लब्स में उसकी जाने की चाहत हो।
The couple apparently did not furnish any identity documents. Instead, they're reported to have given fake names to book a room in the hotel.
वो लोग पहले सचिन आए थे, तो कुछ दिन के बाद वो भी लड़की भी आई थी, और जो सीमा है वो आई थी, तो वो लोग 1 हफ्ते तक बैठे यहाँ पर। डेट के हिसाब से जो किया था तो अभी यहाँ पर नहीं मिल रहे। मैंने ये तो किया था, लेकिन कौन सी नाम दिया वो मेरे को आइडिया नहीं है।
The couple also visited the Pashupati Nath temple in Kathmandu. According to officials in the Uttar Pradesh police, Seema claims she arrived in India on board a bus from Nepal with her 4 children to live with Sachin, her 22-year-old lover from Greater Noida. The central investigation agencies, however, have not been able to confirm this claim of Seema entering India through the India-Nepal border on the 13th of May. With Samarth Srivastav in Kathmandu, Nepal, Bureau Report, India Today.
A story of a horrific child labour has come to the fore from the national capital. A couple who worked for an airline allegedly tortured a 10-year-old child that they had engaged to do domestic chores. The 2 accused were thrashed by a mob after a relative of the girl found injury marks on her body. Watch the story.
Assaults a couple in Delhi. The husband and wife who work for an airline had allegedly tortured a 10-year-old child working as a domestic help at their house in Dwarka. The child was employed just 2 months ago by the couple. According to the victim, the accused Kaushik Bagchi and Purnima Bagchi had beaten her up for burning food and clothes.
क्यों मारते थे?
काम नहीं ठीक से करते हैं ना, इसीलिए।
आप क्या क्या काम करते थे वहाँ पे?
बस बच्चा खिलाने के लिए पहले बोलता था, और फिर पूरा काम करके धीरे धीरे करवाने लगा। वो वर्दी उर्दी जल गया था ना, इसीलिए यहीं पर से यहाँ जला दिया था। कल रोटी जल गई थी तो उसको ड्यूटी जाना था ना, तो रोटी जल गई थी तो बेलन से मारा था।
She was working on 2nd floor. They have been torturing the little girl from about 1 month. As we see those wounds and tortures on their hands, we just inform the police at 112 and police take the right action.
Purnima Bagchi is a pilot, while Kaushik Bagchi works as ground staff at an airline. The police have arrested Kaushik and Purnima for allegedly assaulting the minor. According to the police, the victim has injuries on her eyes and burn marks on her body.
ये बच्ची 2 महीने से यहाँ पे एक कपल ने रखा हुआ है एज डोमेस्टिक हेल्प, और उसको जो है इन्होंने मिसट्रीट किया है। कुछ इंजरीज और बर्न मार्क्स भी उस पर देखा गया। जो दोनों अक्यूज्ड हस्बैंड वाइफ हैं उनको रिटेन कर लिया गया, उनको इस मुकदमे में अरेस्ट किया जा रहा है।
The victim has not leveled any allegations of sexual harassment. With Ram Kinkar Singh in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Time for a very quick break. More news coming up on the other side.
You are watching India Today.
How many more lives? How many more houses? How many more vehicles? How many more villages? Annual nightmare drowns the north. India Today reports from every spot.
There are small children
who are living in these houses, and this is the national capital we are talking about.
Each and every household, that's what we can see.
The holy shrine that saved Mandi from a disaster.
We report, we demand, we fix accountability. Maximum reporters, maximum coverage. Monsoon Mayhem.
Parties on one side with the opposition and 38 parties, big and small, with the BJP. Is it true that basically this is a BJP alliance? All of you are only there as smaller parties. It will be driven completely by BJP, by Amit Shah and Narendra Modi. And on the other side, you've got a Congress-led alliance. Chirag Paswan, 2024, battle of the alliances, who will win?
As I said, Rajdeep ji, it's not, it's about everyone coming in together. It's like a collective responsibility. It's everyone contributing for a common goal, for a common agenda. So I'll not say that it's just one party leading it all. I think it's a collective responsibility, whether it's on the Mahagathbandhan side, whether it's on the NDA side. I think everyone contributes. And there's a saying in Hindi ki boond boond se sagar banta hai. So I think everybody's got their own bit to contribute.
Now the reason I asked you, because till the other day the BJP seemed to have forgotten all their NDA allies. Suddenly they are remembering the NDA allies. Chunav aa gaye to aapki yaad aa gayi.
So was the case with UP also. And let's be very honest, I think this is how the politics of alliances work. You know, alliances are made most of the time near the elections only. You strengthen your alliances during elections, not that you don't remember them for the rest of the years. Yes, there are times and there are alliances which who don't remember their allies for the rest 5-4 years. And then they remember them during elections. But having said it all, I think this is how the politics of alliance works. I think the same goes for UPA also. You call it UPA, you call it Mahagathbandhan. These alliances are, I think during election time, everybody wants to strengthen their alliances.
Watching India Today.
Now, looking beyond the national capital floods, Get Real India Today gets you how rising water in the Ganga is now affecting the daily life of those who are staying in the state of Uttarakhand. While shops and market are shut, there are many places which lack electricity supply, and even food supply is causing a lot of distress across the state. Watch this report.
The Ganga is flowing close to the danger mark in Haridwar. As the water level rises, the mighty river is creating its own path, inundating factories, mills and fields. Shops and markets are flooded. Many shops remain shut due to heavy waterlogging. Haridwar and Laksar areas have received heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours.
दुकान में पानी था, छाती तक पानी था दुकान पे, ऊपर तक नापा पानी था, पूरी गाड़ी डूबी पड़ी थी। ये 4 दिन यहाँ पर लाइट नहीं थी।
अच्छा,
बंद था, पूरा टावर डूबा पड़ा था। ये
4 दिन बिजली नहीं थी।
हाँ जी, बिजली नहीं थी यहाँ पर।
जो हमारी जमीन है वो जमीन यहाँ पर भी आती है, बट जमीन का कुछ नहीं बचा है। जितनी फसल थी सारी बर्बाद हो चुकी है, और जो घरों का है, घरों का हाल रहने लायक अब रहा नहीं है कि उसके में बंदा वापस रह सकता है। पर पर्सन एक हाउस का आप ये मान लीजिए कि 2-3 लाख नुकसान आराम से है।
Farmers in Haridwar are badly hit. Official estimates say more than 7,000 acres of fields are underwater.
इस बारी जो पानी आया है बाढ़ का, पहले भी बाढ़ का पानी आता था।
हाँ, पहले बहुत कम आता था, ऐसा नहीं आया था।
तो अभी बहुत ज्यादा है।
हाँ, ज्यादा है। इसमें तो आप देख लो, चारों तरफ घूम कर फिर के देखो कैसे कैसे हालत हो रही है। और जिन खेत में पानी रुक जाएगा और वो फिर गर्म होगा, जो बच भी रही फसल वो भी मारी जाएगी।
Farmers claim the Ganga has carried with it red silt that is destroying crops.
इस बार मैडम ये परेशानी हो रही है कि पहले जो बाढ़ का पानी आता था वो जब उतर जाता था तो फसल हमारी जो गन्ने की फसल थी उस पर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था, लेकिन इस बार कुछ इस तरह का केमिकल इस पानी में आया है। आप देखिए पीछे मेरे, ये देखिए इस फसल को, ये पूरा रेड होकर और सूख गई, फसल डैमेज हो गई 100 की 100%।
If more water flows from the Srinagar Dam and is released, it will enter the Ganga barrage flowing downstream from here. And of course, as the water level rises, it will result in life falling in disarray in low-lying areas of Haridwar region, resulting in problems in the aftermath of the flooding situation in the state. With Amit Badwar, Milan Sharma from Uttarakhand, Haridwar, India Today.
Now, riding on the superb performance from Rajvardhan Hangangekar and Sai Sudarshan, India actually defeated arch rivals Pakistan with consummate ease in their emerging Asia Cup clash. It was Hangenkar's inspiring 5-wicket haul that put Team India in the commanding position. Pakistan was just reduced to 205 runs as he went through Pakistan's batting attack. He made good use of the bowling-friendly conditions at the start and later wrapped up with a trail. Sai Sudarshan was very quick to pick up Pakistan under pressure with his batting attack. His aggressive stroke play blunted Pakistan's bowling and India moved closer to a win. He finished with 104 of 110 balls, remains unbeaten and scored the winning run for Team India. Team India will now take on Bangladesh on the 21st of September in the semi-final of the tournament.
And into the boundary.
And that's all the time we have on this bulletin. Thank you for watching India Today. This is me, Aishwarya Paliwal, signing off.
You are watching India Today.
हमने किसी की हत्या कर डाली हो ऐसा हमें लग रहा है। सरकार से ये चाहता हूँ, हाथ जोड़कर रिक्वेस्ट है, यहाँ पर आ जाए। अगर अभी की हिंदू मुस्लिम कहीं हो गया होता तो सारे नेता वहाँ पर होते।
The blue-colored construction that you see there is a cow shelter located just below a bridge in Delhi. But the floods didn't spare it, and many cows and other animals were left stuck, battling for their lives.
काफी गायें जो हैं वो पूरी डूब चुकी हैं, जिनके अंदर पेट में पानी भर चुका है। 3 सांड मैंने अपनी आंखों से देखे हैं जो बुरी तरह से फूल के और तैर रहे हैं उसमें, जो मर चुके हैं।
अंदर स्नेक घूम रहे हैं, सांप घूम रहे हैं गौशाला में, और सांड आपस में लड़ रहे हैं। गाय एक दूसरे की तरफ भाग रही है, दौड़ रही है, टक्कर मार रही है। उनमें से गाय को पकड़ के रस्सा मारना और यहाँ तक लेके आना, आप देख लीजिए कि गौरक्षक गुंडे या सेवक है, आज यहाँ पता चल जाएगा। सारी गायों के रस्से बंधे हुए थे, अगर पानी का लेवल और बढ़ जाता तो वो गाय तो वहीं डूब के मर जाती सबकी सब।
However, these Gaurakshaks allege that no one from the government came to the rescue.
ये जमुना में ये गौशाला बना रखी है, 2-3 दिन पहले इनको नोटिस भी मिला होगा, ये गौशाला क्यों नहीं खाली करवाई गई? कोई भी सरकार की तरफ से मदद नहीं है। गौ सेवक लगे हुए हैं, गौरक्षक लगे हुए हैं, बस ये बोट जरूर आई थी, बाकी तो सारी गाय हम वहीं से खोल के और यहाँ तक ला रहे हैं और ट्रीटमेंट भी करा रहे हैं।
कैसे ला रहे हैं?
बोट के साथ 2-2 गाय बांध कर ला रहे हैं। इलाज ही चल रहा है, हमारे डॉक्टर भी हमारे पर्सनल आए हुए हैं। यहाँ तक तो दिल्ली सरकार ने वेटनरी डॉक्टर भी यहाँ पर अभी तक नहीं भेजे हैं।
But as for the government, they're doing all they can.
देखिए, उसके लिए एनडीआरएफ की भी मदद दी जा रही है और डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को भी कहा गया है कि हर संभव मदद दी जाए और जानवरों को निकाल के सेफ जगहों पे लाया जाए।
This man you see here is the owner of the cow shelter. He has been taking care of the shelter for the past 13 years. When asked why the shelter was constructed near a flood-prone area, he claimed to have never witnessed such a calamity here before.
गौशाला है ना, वहाँ काफी अच्छी हाइट करवा रखी है। मतलब आप पुल के लेवल में अगर आप जाओगे तो पुल का लेवल है पूरा, वो उस हिसाब से भराव करा के तो वहाँ गौशाला बनाई गई। जीवन में पहली बार ऐसा अनुभव हुआ, आपको बताएं। और बाढ़ तो हर साल आई, पर वो पानी बार बार जमुना में आशीर्वाद दे के चली गई।
Meanwhile, animal rescue scenes across Delhi NCR were also witnessed. In Noida also, many dog shelters were found inundated with rainwater.
On 13th July at about 4:30, the flood water started entering our shelter. We started evacuating dogs. We have about 356 dogs, and we managed to evacuate almost all of them so far, after rescue operations of about 30-35 hours. We have lost our entire solar panels, our entire refrigerator, our appliances, our oxygen concentrator, our treatment tables, all our medicines, food, everything. We have lost everything. Thankfully, our dogs are safe. We've had a few casualties as well because of drowning.
We hope that the water that has crippled the lives of not just humans but also of our communities, animals and wildlife recedes and normalcy prevails.
Hello and welcome. You're watching In the Club. I'm Dipali Patel. I'm back with the best from the world of entertainment. While I can't match up to the same energy levels as Ranveer Singh, let's at least begin the show by bringing you the highlights from the song launch event that took place in his presence in the national capital. He was accompanied by his Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani co-star Alia Bhatt, and both of them ensured it was one fab afternoon. Take a look. There is never a dull moment with Ranveer Singh, they say, but when Alia Bhatt also joins in, the event is ought to turn into a full-to entertainment. That's right, role reversal.
दिन छोड़ के मैं सारे काम काज करूं, तेरे ईगो तेरे हुस्न की ईगो का मसाज करूं,
तेरा झुमका जो खोया गलती है तेरी, और थाने जाके एफआईआर में लॉन्च करूं। जानती है कि मैं तुझ पे फिदा हूं, तू ये जानती है, तेरी आत्मा को मिलती है शांति है, मुझे ऐसे काम पे लगा के बस ढूंढता रहूं मैं तेरा झुमका।
Mimicking co-stars.
I love you.
And lots of masti.
राय बरेली में तू बीच बाजारी जब हुस्न दिखाने जाएगी, होश उड़ाने वाली शौक नजर के जो पेंच लड़ाने जाएगी। अरे बहन के इतना जेवर कहना, तेज हवा से बच के रहना, गिर जाए तो फिर ना कहना झुमका गिरा रे। हाय झुमका, ओए झुमका, हाय झुमका झुमका।
What झुमका? What झुमका? This is what actually unfolded in the national capital on 18th July afternoon when the two stars made their way to the city for the launch of Vekamlia, the song from their film Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Katha. While Ranveer was in his full elements, what impressed all was his unusual yet classy choice of outfit. Alia, on the other hand, gave the most Karan Joharist film feels in her multicolored pastel chiffon sari. Before addressing the media, the duo set the energy right with their entry. And then took everyone present in the hall on an emotional high by launching Vekamlia.
Vekamlia, 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 mere nadan dil. Vekamlia, 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 mere nadan dil. Vekamlia, 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 Vekam गल सुन लिया वे कमलिया मेरे नादान दिल वे कमलिया.
Sung by Arijit Singh and Shreya Ghoshal, this swoon-worthy track from Rock Your Rani Ki Prem Kahani truly elevates the combustible chemistry between the lead pair. While Ve Kamliya launch did hit the emotional chord, what also was equally heartwarming was this response from Ranbir when India Today exclusively asked him about his experience sharing screen space with Dharmendra.
Yeah, I definitely had a moment the first day that I shot with Dharamji. सुबह आए थे, सीन ब्लॉक कर दिया और कैमरा जब मैं ऐसे I was just taking my moment before the scene started. It was a face-to-face with Dharamji conversation, and I was just processing the scene, taking my moment before, and somebody said roll camera, and I looked up to begin the performance, and that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my God, it's Dharminder, and I had to very quickly collect myself and perform because action had been called. But I definitely had a moment. It was very, very surreal to be sharing screen space with such a legend of our cinema. A huge deal for me. I mean, I've grown up watching him, so it was like straight out of a fantasy.
इन दोनों की प्रेम कहानी की औकात मैंने न दिखाई तो मेरा नाम भी धनलक्ष्मी नहीं खेला हो.
Rock Your Rani Ki Prem Kahani, which also stars Jaya Bachchan and Shabana Azmi apart from Dharmendra, brings Karan Johar back to direction after a gap of 7 years. The film's story revolves around two lovers who come from very different cultural backgrounds and how they decide to make it work by swapping homes and staying with their potential in-laws to test compatibility. After launching trailer and then the two tracks, Tum Kya Mile and Jhumka, the team kick-started their multi-city promotions in Gujarat ahead of the film's release on July 28th. With Dipali Patel, Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
What Jhumka? One of the most loved Hollywood couples, Sofia Vergara and Joe Manganiello, are headed for divorce. After 7 years of their marriage, the duo announced the news in a joint statement. Here are more details.
A beautiful Colombian woman, a handsome American actor. He fell in love with her at first sight, while she took her own sweet time. That's right, Joe Manganiello and Sofia Vergara involved a lot of persuasion and flirting, but eventually ended up exchanging their vows in a dreamy wedding in 2015 on Palm Beach in Florida. And right when you thought this was it, the hero and heroine of this fairy tale are calling it quits after 7 years of their marriage. The two announced the news in a joint statement issued to a leading publishing daily. They said, and we quote, "We have made the difficult decision to divorce. As two people that love and care for one another very much, we politely ask for respect for our privacy at this time as we navigate this new phase of our lives." While they seek some privacy during this phase, let's recall how did they meet and fell in love. Yes, Joe, like many admirers, was smitten by Vergara's charm and beauty at the very first glance. It was during the White House Correspondents Association dinner in May 2014. At the same time, Vergara was engaged to her then fiancé, so Joe sadly did not try to pursue her. However, soon after he learned about Sofia's breakup, he took help from her co-actor of that time, Jessie Tyler Ferguson, to get Vergara's contact number. Since then, they have been head over heels in love, laughter, and their social media posts were the perfect testimony of that. The couple was last seen together at the Vanity Fair Oscars party on March 12, 2023, and even celebrated the 7th anniversary of their first date in June. Meanwhile, the news of their separation came after fans spotted Vergara celebrating her 51st birthday with her friends in Italy, where Jo was missing from the pictures. And her caption read, "When life gives you lemons, you come to Italy to squeeze them." Jo had, however, posted a birthday wish for her on social media with this picture. For the Anwar, Sophia, who is a mother of a 31-year-old son, became significant in the industry with her role in Modern Family, an American sitcom which aired for 11 seasons between 2009 and 2020. Joel, on the other hand, is known for his roles in Magic Mike and True Blood, among others.
How can Eric be running around in the daylight?
It's a long, strange story. I'll tell you on the way.
Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
Sergey.
Sorry. What?
Another couple who is making headlines is Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez. The duo has been living apart since January, is now headed for a divorce. Reports suggest that the couple started having problems even before Ariana Grande started filming Wicked in London. Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez's love story once graced tabloid covers and melted hearts worldwide. But behind the red carpets and dazzling smiles, their seemingly picture-perfect marriage has reached a breaking point. The couple has been living apart since January and are now headed for a divorce. Ariana was recently photographed without her wedding ring, enjoying a day at Wimbledon 2023. Reports suggest that the couple started having problems even before Ariana Grande started filming Wicked in London. The pop star and her real estate agent boyfriend had been together for 2 years before deciding to separate. Ariana and Dalton married in a private ceremony at her house in Montecito in May 2021. They apparently got engaged months before that and spent a lot of time together during the COVID-19 pandemic and often shared glimpses of their relationship. Ariana Grande is one of the world's best-selling artists and a 2-time Grammy winner. Born on June 26, 1993 in Florida, she began her career in musical theatre and has had several high-profile relationships over the years. Grande's first significant relationship was with fellow actor Graham Phillips. The couple first met on the sets of the Broadway musical 13 when they were both teenagers, and they dated from 2008 to 2011. Her next high-profile relationship was with YouTube personality Jay Brooks. The couple first started dating in 2012 and broke up a year later, only to reconcile in 2013.
I think you should look.
When I'm done the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
Are you sure?
Thank you for watching. You've made me hot, thank you. And if anyone else needs makeup, go to me. Yeah.
They split again later that year, with both parties accusing the other of cheating during their relationship. She also dated Nathan Sykes, a member of the boy band The Wanted. In 2014, Grande started dating rapper Big Sean, with whom she collaborated on several music tracks. They were together for 8 months before calling it quits amicably due to their busy schedules. Dancer Ricky Alvarez and Ariana dated from 2015 to 2016. However, her most publicized relationship was with rapper and singer-songwriter Mac Miller. The couple dated from 2016 to 2018 and collaborated on several tracks, including My Favorite Part and The Way. They remained friends after they split, but Miller tragically passed away in 2018 due to an accidental overdose. Grande then started dating comedian Pete Davidson in 2018 and got engaged after just a few weeks. However, the relationship was short-lived and they called off their engagement in October of that year. Ariana Grande reportedly then started dating Dalton Gomez in January 2020. Fans of Grande were left saddened by the news, with many taking to social media to express their disappointment. The singer, who has been open about her struggles with relationships in the past, is yet to make a public statement about the split. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
It's time for a very short break now, but there's lots more coming up on the other side, so stay tuned to In the Club.